A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
Countdown for blast off. X minus 5, 4, 3, 2, X minus 1, fire. From the far horizons of the unknown come transcribed tales of new dimensions in time and space. These are stories of the future, adventures in which you'll live in a million could-be years on 1,000 maybe worlds. The National Broadcasting Company, in cooperation with Street and Smith, publishers of astounding science fiction, presents
X minus 1.
tonight's story, A Logic Named Joe, by Murray Leinster.
It was on the 3rd day of August that Joe came off the assembly line. And on the 4th, Maureen came into town. And that afternoon, I saved civilization. Maureen is a blonde I was crazy about once, and Joe is a new 1974 model Logic that I've got stored away down in the cellar. And how do I save civilization?
You're listening now to a voice from the future. The voice of Frank Caldwell, head serviceman for the Logix Corporation, makers of the machine that does everything for you. Well, nearly everything anyway. The electronic Logic. In the year we speak, 1974, no modern home was complete without one. And the Logic sets were working so well that life was soft indeed for repairman Frank Caldwell. That is, until that fatal day of August the 3rd, when suddenly the Logics began doing everything for their users and doing it too well.
On the 3rd of August, there wasn't much doing, and I'm hanging around the boss's office smoking up his cigars.
Frank, there's a customer outside. Go take care of him, will you?
Me? I'm a maintenance man.
Mr. Korlanovich wants to have Logix explained to him.
Explained? Where's he been, on Mars?
I just moved up from the backwoods someplace.
Well, why don't you explain him?
Well, I don't feel too well.
You were okay half an hour ago.
Are you the boss here or am I? Go on out there, will you?
Okay. Oh, Mr. Korlanovich, good morning. My name is Caldwell. Can I help you?
Oh, thank you, Mr. Caldwell. This is my little boy, Freddie.
Hi, you jerk!
Oh! Freddie, how many times have I got to tell you not to kick people in the shin? Excuse it, please, Mr. Caldwell.
Oh, sure. Just a kid.
I got a knife home, could cut you into little pieces.
Please, Freddie. We'd like to buy a Logic, Mr. Caldwell. The gentleman we spoke to first said he had to leave in a hurry.
I'll fix him. Well, I understand that you're not acquainted with Logix, Mr. Korlanovich.
That's right. We just moved to the city.
Uh-huh.
My wife, she saw everybody else had a Logic, and you know how women are.
Oh, you bet. Well, you can't get along without a Logic in this day and age, Mr. Korlanovich.
Look, I got a snake. You want to see?
Well, you shut that. Now, about the Logic. Here, I'll just plug in this one right here. Now, you see, the Logic looks kind of like an old-fashioned television set, only it's got keys instead of dials. Now, a lot of the keys are standard, like the television stations, the news, the stock market quotes, and so on. Of course, if you want to talk to somebody, you just punch the number of his Logic. It's like making an old-fashioned phone call.
But there can't be keys for everything.
Oh, no. Now, let's say that you want to ask a question, like what to take for a sore throat, or who won the American League pennant in 1911. You turn on the Logic, then you just punch the question key and ask, like this. Who was the first president of the United States?
George Washington.
There, you see.
But I already knew that.
Well, of course, that was just a sample.
I got a little store. Will it keep books for me?
It will keep your books, record your contracts, serve as a filing system, and check up on what happened to your lawyer's last client. Anything.
Hey, they're really something, these things.
10,000 services and information sources in one. Read our advertising.
What I want to know, Mr. Caldwell, how do these logics work?
Of course. Now, you saw that big building across the street?
Sure.
Well, that's one of the relay tanks. You see, there are a dozen of them all around the country, and they're all hooked up together. And there's a data plate in one of those tanks for every fact in creation. Anything that you want to see or hear, you just punch for it, and the logic gives you the answer.
Hey, listen. Could I ask this thing how to make dart poison?
How to make what?
Dart poison. Like in Africa. I could shoot the darts through my bean shooter.
I think maybe we better not get one of these things.
Oh, no. It's perfectly all right, Mr. Kolonovich. The logic won't tell you that.
I bet it will. I'm going to try it. Hey, how do you make dart poison?
Public policy forbids this service.
Oh, what did it do that for?
Kind of some little brat. Because some people might ask things that aren't good for them.
Listen, I don't like this here one. I want that one over there.
Kid, they're all alike.
I want that one. If I can't have that one, I'm going to hold my breath till I'm dead.
I got a lot of time.
It's no use, Mr. Caldwell. You might as well give him the one he wants.
But look, kid, they're so much alike that even I can't tell them apart.
I can, and I want Joe.
Joe? Who's Joe?
I guess he means the logic, Mr. Caldwell. He has to think up a name to call everything. You should hear some of the names he calls me.
Not till I'm 21. I promised Mother.
Okay, so we call him Joe, but them things are all alike to 1/10,000th of an inch.
I don't care. I bet he'll teach me how to make dart poison.
Okay, then. Come on, Joe. So he keeps yelling, I want that one. I want that one. I'm going to call him Joe. Mike, I tell you, I could have wrung his neck.
How many cards?
I'll draw 2. What a holy terror. He had his father scared to death.
It's too bad that kid ain't mine. I'd show him quick enough who was boss in the family. Uh-oh, holy smoke.
What's the matter?
I'm sorry, fellas. I got to hold up the hand a minute. I just remembered. Oh, I got to call my wife.
Oh, let her wait.
You ever met my wife? Hey, what's the matter with this thing? It ain't getting my house.
Announcing new and improved logic service. Your logic is now equipped to give not only consultative, but directive advice. If you want to do something and don't know how to do it, ask your logic.
Hey, did you guys hear that? Well, they should have told us about that.
Oh, it's just somebody trying to pull a gag.
Oh, it didn't sound like a gag to me. Maybe the boss decided to add a new logic service.
Look, the minute the system starts giving advice, some joker like you is going to be asking questions like, how do I get rid of my wife? Oh, no. The boss knows better than to start anything like that.
Yeah, but you heard what the logic just said.
Oh, listen, the sensor circuits will block the question. You don't believe me? Go ahead and try it.
Well, anything for a gag. Okay, logic, I got a question for you. How do I get rid of my wife?
Service question. Is your wife blonde or brunette?
You guys hear that? She's a blonde.
Hexacrylobinatine is a constituent of green shoe polish. Take home a frozen meal containing pea soup. Color the soup with green shoe polish. This poison is fatal to blonde females only. This fact is a product of logic service. You cannot be convicted of murder. It is improbable that you will be suspected.
The saints preserve us. That's bound to be right. These things can't make a mistake. Well, Mike, don't just stand there. Check the sensor circuits, quick.
Oh, we can't get to them. They're all sealed up. It's supposed to be impossible for them to go out of order.
Well, they're out of order now. And I got a feeling that some awful things are going to happen. Boss, we've got to do something. The logics have gone nuts.
Now, relax. The thing gave a goofy answer once. Maybe it was a joke.
But
it was an accident. Now, forget it. It won't happen again.
What makes you so sure? People are going to be trying it. Look, supposing I wanted to get rid of you, for instance.
You don't. How would you collect your pay?
I know, but just supposing. Now, look, we'll try it.
If you want to do something and don't know how, ask your logic.
How do I bump off my boss? Male, fat, bald-headed, and 45.
Make some chocolate ice cream containing powdered charcoal in place of half the chocolate. Use Hotso brand charcoal. Hotso contains an ingredient fatal only to fat, bald-headed males. This fact is a product of Logic's service.
Now, look, Frank, I admit these things have gone a little wacky, but there's nothing to worry about.
Nothing to worry about. If this keeps up, what do you bet that we'll have to shut down the company?
You kidding? We can't shut down the company, and you know it. Logics have taken the place of everything but night baseball. We shut them down, we'd go back to a civilization that we've forgotten how to run.
Yes, but, boss, there's no telling what they'll do.
Listen, now, you've asked these questions for a gag. Nobody's going to ask them seriously. What you need is a little faith in human nature. Excuse me, it's probably my wife.
Cyrus, dear, how do you feel?
Why, just fine, sweetheart. What have you been doing?
I just called to tell you, Cyrus. I've got your favorite dessert for dinner.
Dessert? What kind?
Homemade chocolate ice cream. Cyrus, when you taste it, you'll just die. Cyrus, what's wrong? Why don't you answer me, Cyrus?
What?
Chocolate ice cream?
This can't be happening. Why, this is awful. These logics are dangerous.
Have a little faith in human nature.
Now, Caldwell, you're the head of the maintenance crew. I'll give you 24 hours to fix these logics or you're fired.
Well, now, look, boss.
What are you standing there for? Get in the service car. Get moving.
Where?
Anywhere. Find out what the logics are up to and see that you find out before the logics do.
Bartender, give me a double.
Last night, have a little drink, pal. What's the matter, pal? You had a bad day?
Oh, excuse me, bud.
Listen, pal, you gotta listen. I got troubles.
Bartender, will you get this barfly off of me?
On your way, son.
Oh, don't say that. I got troubles. How am I going to keep my wife from finding out I had a couple of little drinks? How am I going to do it, huh?
Look, mister, it's a hot day, and I've been driving a car around in it, see? And I've been trying to keep a bank president from having apoplexy on account of his logic told him how to rob his own bank. I've been trying to stop 6-year-olds from asking what comes after the bees and the flowers and their fathers from asking how to get $1 million by tomorrow. I've been tripping over dead bodies so artistically croaked that nobody's ever going to find out who done it, and all you got on your mind is
how am I going to keep my wife from finding out I've been drinking?
Dry up, will you? Go ask the logic.
My pal, my boy, where's the logic? Where's that logic?
Here, right behind you. Here, here's a nickel.
Listen, I gotta hear.
Come on, logic, old pal. Old pal, be nice. How does a guy keep his wife from finding out he's had a couple of little drinks? Answer me that, huh?
Buy a bottle of Franine hair shampoo. It is harmless, but contains an ingredient which instantly neutralizes alcohol. 1 teaspoonful for each jigger you have consumed.
Oh, boy, gotta buy a bottle of... what was that again?
Supposing it's right, you'll never remember it as far as the drugstore. I think there's a bottle in the back room. Somebody left it.
Oh, my pal. Oh, my boy. No more trouble. You just show me the way to go.
I got a picture of him back there drinking that shampoo.
Yeah. Give me another double.
I don't know what's worse, to be as low as you or as high as him.
Where is he? I know he's here. Where is that bum?
What do you want, lady?
My husband. I know he's here. Where is he?
Show me the way to go.
That's him, that no-good louse. I'll show him. Thinks he's coming home staggering again, does he? Well, I'll teach him.
Poor guy.
Why, my dear, what a surprise to see you here.
Archibald, you're sober.
Of course, my love. I'm sober as a judge.
Then what are you doing in a saloon?
Your suspicion wounds me deeply, my love. Let me tell you, my dear, that I have been conducting a research project that is going to make us a fortune. I'm going to patent Soba, the drink that makes happy homes.
Look at this blotter, Caldwell. Blank. The greatest crime wave in history, and we can't even make an arrest. They're all perfect crimes. Thanks to the logics.
But, Sergeant, we're doing our best to find out...
Well, that's not good enough. You can't find out what's back of this. Shut down the company. Unless the police department will.
Look, nobody is back of it. The logics run themselves. They pick their own circuits automatically.
You mean they're doing all this by themselves?
Sure. We always knew they could do a lot more things than we knew about. I think they're just trying to be helpful, that's all.
That's all, huh? Well, you better make them cut out the tricks, including this new business they're up to now.
What new business?
Just started an hour ago. Every time you turn on a logic, it asks your name, and then it spells out the whole history of your life.
What? I haven't heard about that. Well, what's it do that for?
You tell me. Go on, go ahead, try it.
Okay.
What is your name?
How do you like that? I'm Frank Caldwell.
Frank Caldwell. Were you ever called Ducky?
Ducky? Wow.
Lay off, will you, fella? What if I was? It's been years.
Ducky, there is a call for you.
Hello, Ducky.
Holy cats. Lorene.
Ducky, darling, how marvelous.
Hey, let me get a look. Huh?
Gosh, Lorene, where are you?
I'm in a hotel. I just got into town. Oh, Ducky, wasn't it smart of the logic to find you?
The logic? To find me?
I asked it how to find Ducky. You must have an unlisted number, darling. You're not in the directory.
Well, how have you been, Lorene, since I saw you last? I heard you got married.
You won't believe me, Ducky, I know, but I've had 4 husbands, and I've never loved anybody as much as I love you.
You've divorced 4 husbands?
3. The last one, died unexpectedly.
Oh, who unexpected?
He did. But the jury acquitted me, Ducky. They knew it was just a little old accident. So now I'm free again, and we got lots of things to talk over. You come right on over here, Ducky.
Oh, well, Lorene, I'm working, you see, and I'll call you back.
All right. Here's a kiss. That'll have to hold you till you get here. Hurry, Ducky.
Oh, my back. What am I going to do?
Do like you were telling me a while ago.
Huh?
Calm yourself. Ducky.
Call on the logic for you, Frank, your wife.
Oh, thanks, Mike. Hi, Gerd.
Frank, I've been trying to get you for an hour. Where you been?
I've been out making calls, honey, trying to find out what ails these logics.
Well, you better find out in a hurry or there's going to be trouble.
Now, look, Gerd. Now, just take it easy, huh?
Caldwell, you can't let this happen to me. They're asking everybody's name, and when you tell your name, it reels off your whole history.
Well, honey, I don't think they're doing that anymore. I think that was just temporary.
Well, in the meantime, it's told everybody in the neighborhood all about me. I punched Mrs. Hudson's name. She's been married 3 times, and she's had Mr. Hudson arrested twice for non-support and once for beating her up. It'll tell anybody anything.
Yeah, but look, Gerd, I'll tell you.
Frank, you stop these things or I'm going to leave you.
Oh, honey, you don't mean that.
I do. If you can't figure out how to keep our private lives out of every logic in town, then I'm through, and that settles it.
I can't even budge any of these relay plates.
Me either.
Isn't there some way we can disconnect them?
Nope, there is not. They weren't built to be disconnected. The sensor circuits were supposed to take care of cutting them off. Now, see who that's for, Frank.
Hello, Ducky, darling.
Oh, Lorene, not again.
Ducky, darling. I'm so lonesome. Why haven't you come over?
Well, I've been busy.
Oh, poor Ducky. Look, let's get married.
Gosh, Lorene, well, what I mean is...
Right away, Ducky. You're not busy tonight, are you?
Look, Lorene, I got married.
Oh, poor boy. My poor Ducky. Well, we'll just get you out of that.
No, now, look, Lorene.
It's all arranged, darling. I'll just call up your wife and have a little talk.
No, now, please, Lorene, I mean, it's nice of you to think of me and all, but
Yeah, you just give me your address and your logic number, darling.
I haven't got one.
Never mind, darling. The logic will find out for me.
Lorene?
Hey, Frank, will you get away from that thing and give me a hand?
Yes, Mike, in a minute. First, I've got to call my wife. We got to get out of town. Oh, Lord, I made a mistake.
Frank, you're supposed to be helping Mike.
Yeah, I am, boss, I am, but I got to make this call.
Call? What do I care about your call? President's getting ready to close down the company and declare martial law. Now, for the love of heaven, do something.
Yes, boss, I will. I've just got to make this one call before the logics get on my trail.
To assist in solving a special problem of logic service, kindly give the following information if possible. Where does Frank Caldwell live?
They got me. I'm through. Look, Gert, will you please not ask any more questions?
Frank Caldwell, I told you I was leaving you.
Honey, leave me later. Right now, will you pack up yourself and the kids? We got to get out of here.
But what is all this? Are the cops after you or something?
Yeah, that's it. That's it, the cops. Now get moving, honey, will you? And will you get away from that logic?
But don't you think we ought to hear the police call?
27 and car 31. Detailed to round up all employees of the Logics Company. Use caution. They are suspected of sedition.
Holy smoke, the cops are after me.
But you just said they weren't.
Car 17, proceed to vicinity of 119 East 7th Street. Child terrorizing neighborhood. Use extreme caution. Child is armed with bean shooter using poison darts.
Freddie.
Who's Freddie?
Something I met once in a horrible nightmare. He wanted a logic that would tell him how to make dart poison. They're all alike, I kept telling him. They're all alike.
What are you talking about?
Oh, I don't know, Gert. All I know is it was a nice world up till yesterday. Now it's like a guy named Joe come along and squashed all our mud pies for us.
Looks to me more like it was a logic named Joe.
What'd you say?
A logic named Joe.
A logic name? But they're all alike. Gert, baby!
Frank, let me go. Don't be so silly.
All right, honey, look, you hold the fort. Maybe they aren't all alike.
Where are you going? Frank, are you going to make a getaway?
Getaway, baby. If you've got the right inspiration, I'm going straight to the middle of this whole jamboree.
Yes? Oh. I was hoping it was the police.
You remember me, Mr. Kolonovich, Caldwell of the Logics Company?
Logics Company. I wish the Logics Company was at the bottom of the ocean.
I don't blame you, believe me. Now, where's your logic?
In here. I'd smash it into a million pieces if I wasn't afraid of what Freddie would do to me.
Right, look, just get out of the way, will you? I've got business with Joe.
If you want to do something and don't know how, ask your logic.
Oh, we're back to that routine, Well, I want to do something all right. Can a logic be modified to achieve correlations for which human brains are too limited?
Yes.
How great will the modifications be?
Microscopically slight. Changes in dimension not detectable even by precision gauges. They can come about only through an extremely improbable accident.
And what would this super logic then be able to do? Come on, you, spill it.
It could set up entire new combinations of electronic relays, which would bypass the normal sensor blocks, thereby enabling it to perform valuable new services, including the giving of helpful advice on any human problem.
And has this accident ever happened? Come on.
It has happened only once in the case of the logic now owned by the Kolonovich family of 119 East 7th Street. A logic named Joe.
Thanks, Joe. That's all I wanted to know.
Hey, what's all that about?
I'm taking this logic away, Mr. Kolonovich. I'll bring you a new one, and our troubles are all over.
Hey, you, get away from Joe.
Correction, our troubles are just beginning.
Freddie, put down that blowgun.
Ah, shut up. Hey, you, I said get away from the logic.
Look, Freddie, I'm going to bring you a nice new one, see?
I want that one. Get your mitts off it. What I got in this bean shooter ain't lemonade.
Mr. Caldwell, the police. They're outside.
Yeah, for me and Freddie.
Nuts. What they want you for? You ain't smart enough to do nothing.
Oh, no? Hey, there's plenty I could tell you. Look, there's the cops, kid. It's you and me against them.
So what you gonna do about it if you're so smart?
Now, look, we may have to fight our way out. Let me see that blowgun. I know a way to hop it up so the cops won't have a chance. Now, come on, give it to me.
Okay, let's see what you can do. Here.
Thanks. Here!
Oh!
Mr. Caldwell, you're a great man.
Now all I got left to do is pull this plug out of the wall. Come right in, Sergeant.
Well, that must be the kid. He don't look so tough to me.
Well, he just got a little softening.
There'll be no more complaints, officer. I guess I can go on where Mr. Caldwell left off.
Caldwell? Hey, you wanted...
Now, look, I just came to pick up this busted logic. I don't know a thing.
You said that before. Come on, you're going to the cooler.
Let's go.
Oh, wait a minute. You act like you wanted to go to jail.
Well, just till a certain party leaves town. I get a feeling it's safer.
Okay, then, Caldwell. Into the paddy wagon you go.
Thanks, officer. You may be saving my life. Now, if you'll just help me carry this logic out...
Wait a minute. You can't take that in the wagon.
I can't? Why not?
There's no room. We already got a dame in there who's raising the roof.
A dame?
Yeah, a blonde. Plainclothesman picked her up trying to buy a gun without a permit. She keeps screaming she's going to miss her date with Ducky.
You have just heard X-1, presented by the National Broadcasting Company in cooperation with Street and Smith, publishers of astounding science fiction. Tonight, by transcription, X-1 has brought you A Logic Named Joe, adapted for radio by Clarice Ross from the story by Murray Leinster. Featured in the cast were Mandel Kramer, Wendell Holmes, Guy Rep, Bill Zuckert, Walter Kinsella, Bob Hastings, Joseph Julian, Joey Fallon, Mary Lou Forster, Ann Thomas, and Mary Patton. Your announcer, Fred Collins. X-1 was directed by Daniel Sutter and is an NBC Radio Network production.
Next week, X-1 will bring you a dramatization of Robert Heinlein's famous science fiction masterpiece, The Roads Must Roll. It concerns the day when traffic became so impossible that the engineers took over and banned all automobiles, tore up the superhighways, and built huge mechanized roads which whirled along on giant rotors at speeds up to 100 miles an hour. An engineering miracle changed the face of the nation. The rolling roads took over. No one worried about the fact that if the road should stop, our whole economic life would fall apart. The machinery, they said, was perfect. But they forgot that machinery depends on men, and men are not perfect. Be sure to tune in next week at a new time, same day, for another exciting broadcast of X-1.
The Euclidean submarine bearing Jerry and Joan is plowing steadily southward toward Euclidia, the magic island of the South Seas. The submarine set out to capture Johnson's boat, but Johnson ran past them and is continuing on toward the island. His last radio message telling of an accident to his boat. Oil tanks leaking. May not have enough fuel to make port. With all this in mind, the submarine is following Johnson closely, so they may pick him up and tow him to port. Mrs. Gregory and Captain Tex Bradford have watched and heard all this from the control room in the submerged island. But they can see and hear nothing of the submarine now, as the commander has shut off the power. And Jerry is telling Joan he thinks they've found a friend.
I'm afraid you are mistaken, Jerry. These Euclideans are too happy with their power and with their dream of conquering the world.
But I tell you, I know what I'm talking about. Now listen, Joan, when that woman commander left us here in the central control section and went up forward there to talk to that engineer, she cut off all the gadgets that pick up our voices and carry them all over the sub, didn't she?
Yes, Jerry, but that was only done to conserve the power. If this submarine will have to tow a crippled boat to the island, all the power will be needed to operate the towing magnet.
That's all okay, and it gave her a swell excuse. But I'm telling you, she wanted us to have a chance to plan something about what we're to do when we get to Johnson's boat.
Even if that were true, Jerry, there is nothing we could do of any value. We will tow Mr. Johnson to Euclidia. His boat will be captured with all on board, and Captain Bradford's formula will fall into G47's hands.
Oh, gee, I forgot the formula for a minute. I guess there's nothing we could do about that, is there?
You said Mr. Johnson had some of those clever little homing pigeons on his boat. Could he not send a message by one of them? Send the formula on to someone else?
No chance. The pigeons on his boat are trained to go to your mother's boat, and they'd only end up on the island again with the formula. Johnson might just as well take the formula in himself and hand it over to G47.
Let me warn you of one thing, Jerry. Do not try to do more than you have permission to do. You will find the commander and the engineer very swift in their punishment.
Gosh, that engineer is big enough and ugly enough to get a job scaring babies anytime. But I got an idea. The skipper's going to give us a break.
I am afraid, Jerry, that idea will get you into serious trouble.
I'll take a chance on it when the time comes. But right now, I won't act like I noticed anything funny about the way she acted.
Be quiet now. She is returning.
She looks like she means business, too.
I think you were wrong, Jerry.
I see that you at least had intelligence enough to obey instructions and remain as you were. I have given the engineer orders to prepare the stern electromagnet for towing Johnson's boat when his fuel is exhausted.
May I ask you something, Commander?
You may, if the question is within reason.
You use explosive gas for power on this sub, don't you?
Correct. Those lockers are full of tubes of the solidified gas, which, when placed in the discharge tubes and vaporized, explode continuously with tremendous and noiseless power.
Thanks. That's swell. But what bothers me is how you get power to run that big generator, and whether the power is going to come from to run magnets heavy enough to tow a big boat.
The generators are run by water pressure. There are minute tubes throughout the outer shell of this boat, parallel to the axis. The natural rush of water through these tubes is utilized by turbines in the bow and stern. They drive the generators.
The storage batteries alone would handle the generators for an hour. Is that not so, Commander?
Precisely.
But gee, don't you lose a lot of speed by having those tubes pick up all that water?
The loss is 15%, negligible compared to the amount of current generated.
Boy, oh boy, this is really a submarine.
You will see the magnets working very shortly.
Are we close to Johnson's boat?
It is difficult to get the exact range now. His motors have stopped.
Then he has run out of fuel. We may come up to him very soon, then.
Will you take this sub up onto the surface to tow him?
This is a submarine. It has never been on the surface, except as you saw it standing perpendicularly to act as a conning tower.
But how can you hook the magnets on his boat?
He has been instructed by G47 to drop an anchor over his bow. We will pick up the anchor with our stern magnets and remain in at least 2 fathoms of water.
What will our speed be, Commander, towing that heavy boat?
There is no emergent need of speed. We will not attempt more than 15 knots.
Golly whiskers. I think that's pretty fast for a submarine to tow a 100-foot cruiser with a magnet on its anchor.
It will not be difficult.
There is a discoloration in the water, Commander.
Excellent, SE-1. We will observe it closely. Maintain speed and course.
Maintain speed and course. Due south. 25 knots.
Now we will check on this discoloration in the water.
Hey, wait a minute. You're not going to open a hole in the wall of this thing, are you?
Jerry, be quiet. Certainly I am, but have no fear. You will not drown. If your powers of observation were worthy, you would see that I am opening a small slide in the inner shell. So. Then a mere slit in the outer shell. And there we have a small stream of water passing through that channel and continuing harmlessly out of the stern turbine exhaust.
Gee whiz.
Is it not wonderful, Jerry?
It sure is.
Yes. So SE-1 was right. There is a distinct discoloration in the water. Oil. Fuel oil for diesel motors. We are following exactly in the wake of Johnson's leaking fuel tanks. There. The volume of oil is increasing. Good. We are near the boat.
That's sure keen. You left me behind on one thing.
Did you not understand how the water passed through there without entering the compartment, Jerry?
Oh, sure, I understood that. But where did that oil come from?
Are you being deliberately stupid? You have heard me say it came from the fuel tanks on the boat we are following.
Oh, I don't mean that. I mean that the top of this sub is 2 fathoms below the surface of the water. Well, how did the oil get down 12 feet in the water? Where I come from, oil floats until it scatters. This is a steady stream.
The question surprises me with its intelligence. Had you been more observant, you would have noticed SE-1 has raised a slender feeler tube in the bow. This reaches the surface and turns a jet of surface water through the channel I just opened.
Do you have anything as wonderful as that in your world, Jerry?
If we do, I can't think of it right now.
Silence. I must speak to G47.
Gee, Joan, I was...
Silence, I said. That means absolute silence. S1 reporting to G47. S1 to G47.
You may proceed.
Boat we are pursuing has stopped. Motors silenced. Oil drift on surface here indicates we are nearing boat. Prepared to tow it to Guildea. Special order?
None. Proceed. That is all. G47.
Gee, we're going to pick up Johnson's boat now.
Naturally. You will find the method of attaching the magnetic stern fin to the anchor of the captive boat highly illuminative, Jerry.
You mean I'll get a kick out of it?
There will be no kicking here. The language of the stable is out of place in this well-ordered machine. He is just trying to have some fun with me, Commander. Jerry acts as if he didn't understand big words.
It seems to be no effort for him to misunderstand anything.
Oh, I guess you're right, Skipper. I'm sorry, Commander.
SE-1, prepare to tow Johnson boat.
Prepare to tow Johnson boat. Has boat been advised to have bow anchor up?
That has been done. You will maneuver position. I will personally attend to securing anchor with stern magnetic fin. Maintain speed and course until boat sighted.
Very good, Commander.
You two may witness this operation if you care to accompany me to the stern section.
Oh, golly whiskers. That's swell, thanks.
Hull, what is the meaning of this?
What?
Have you no manners? If you are not cognizant of the accepted tactics in the presence of a superior, you might at least observe the common decencies.
Hey, well, what have I done now?
You started to precede the commander, Jerry. Oh, Jerry, I am so disappointed in you.
I'm sorry, Joan. Golly, I was so excited I forgot to... Well, I'm sorry, Commander.
It may be overlooked this time, as the damage is purely rhetorical. But let that be a lesson to you, Hall. There is a place for everyone in the Euclidean scheme of things. Your place is at all times secondary to that of the commander.
Right.
You may follow me to the stern.
Boy, can she be tough.
I told you, Jerry. You made a mistake about her.
I guess I did.
You will sit there, Hall. Remember that the magnetic paint on your hands and shoes is still active.
Okay, I won't get funny.
You there, Cleostro?
Thank you, Commander.
You will remain silent. You may see all that is of interest through the transparent shell.
Boat dirty ahead. Side draft. We will clear it.
Excellent. Retard speed to stop stern fin directly below bow anchor of that boat.
Retarded. Losing speed. 20 knots. 15 knots. 10.
Full reverse tubes.
Full reverse tubes. 5 knots. Stationary, Commander.
Very well. Hold it so with stabilizers. I will project the stern magnetic fin. What is this, SE-1?
Yes, Commander.
You have contributed an atrocious piece of navigation. You have driven about 3 fathoms beyond the anchor from that boat.
Sorry, Commander. Reversing at once. Yeah, 3 fathoms.
That is satisfactory.
Gee whiz. The poor guy misses an anchor chain 18 feet with the stern of the boat 80 feet from him, and he gets the dickens for it.
That was a serious error, Jerry.
Not in my country, it wouldn't be.
Silence. Stabilize as you are, SE-1.
Stationary, Commander.
Very well. Observe closely, Hall. This lever. Move it to this position, so. The fin is extended. It just touches the anchor.
Boy, that's slick figuring. And the engineer moved mighty fast, too, when he gave you those other 18 feet on the reverse.
Things must move swiftly to have a value here, Jerry.
Precisely. Ready to absorb the contact shock?
Ready.
Very well. What is the weight of that boat, Hall?
Gee, I don't know.
I should have known you wouldn't know anything of value.
I have never heard the tonnage referred to.
Then I must estimate it. The generator's full, so. 3 circuits of magnets will handle the load easily. You may feel a slight shock as the magnets in the fin engage the anchor, so.
Gee whiz. Did you see that thing grab that anchor, Joan?
Yes, Jerry. I have seen it before.
Silence. Ready, SE-1.
Ready, Commander.
Full speed ahead to break inertia, then retract to 10 knots for cruising.
Right.
Very good, SE-1. Set your regulator for 10 knots. I will attend the current supply. Same course. Proceed.
Very good, Commander.
Boy, we're really pulling that big boat 10 knots an hour now?
I hardly think yet, Jerry.
It should take about 30 seconds to attain speed.
Can I use the radio now? We can talk to Johnson easy when we're this close together.
You are entirely too close to Johnson. I will take no chances with you, Hall. Remain exactly as you are.
At last, Johnson on the Gregory boat is nearing the Magic Island. But Johnson will arrive at the island as a prisoner and not a rescuer. Jerry and Joan were ordered to go in the Euclidean submarine and aid in the capture of Johnson's boat, while the captain and Mrs. Gregory have seen and heard all that took place in the submarine through the wonderful prism reflectors in G-47's control chambers. The submarine is towing the Johnson boat, which has run out of fuel. They are only a few miles from Guildea, the magic island. Mrs. Gregory and Captain Bradford are now back on their captive yacht, inside a lock in the submerged island. The alarm gong on the island has been ringing, and Mrs. Gregory and Tex are trying to learn the meaning of the signals.
There it is again, Tex. The same signal we heard before.
Yes, Pat, but the last time we heard it meant to standby stations. Then they submerged this island.
Well?
The island's all the way down now. The surface of it is 40 feet below the water level. They can't submerge it anymore.
Just the same, there's the signal. Oh, Tex, I'm getting so worried down here in this dark lock. It was better in G-47's control room. At least we could see and hear what was going on. And we knew that Joan and Jerry were all right in that submarine.
Jerry and Joan are all right, whether we watch them or not.
Is this radio all right now?
It works fairly well, but it wouldn't be a good idea for us to try sending with it.
I didn't mean that, Tex. Just so it works well enough that we can hear Johnson if he talks to Jerry in the submarine.
Poor Johnson. I'll bet his face was a study when that sub picked up his bow anchor with a magnet and started to tow him to this island.
Doesn't it seem strange to you that Johnson hasn't sent any message since that?
I don't think so. There's nothing for him to send one about. It's just the end of a good try on his part, and he's failed. I imagine he doesn't feel a whole lot like talking to anyone.
Tex, 4 strokes of the alarm gong. That should mean the 4th level. The island's going up again.
I think you're right, Pat. That must mean that the battleships are all safely out of the way. Johnson's boat is near enough that they're getting the island out of the water so the submarine can land the captive boat at one of the piers.
Then Joan and Jerry will be back with us again. I won't care much what happens if I can only keep them near me all the time.
Yes, and once I get Johnson on this island with the materials he has on that boat, it shouldn't take us long to figure a way out of this.
But G-47 will take the materials away from you the minute the boat lands.
Oh, will you quit worrying so much, Pat? We'll get off this island if it takes a year. Now, just try to take it easy and leave the rest to me.
The 3rd level, Tex. We're really going to get up out of this awful dark at last.
Looks like it. I hope they let us take the yacht back out into the open water between the piers again. I don't like this living in a hole underwater myself.
That's right. G-47 may not want the yacht outside again.
I don't think he'll object to that. Doesn't look much like we'd run away with a broken mast and these smashed cabin roofs.
And will we be allowed to remain on the yacht?
G-47 said we could. He hasn't room for us to live on the island and no time to build quarters for us.
Remember that the aerial is broken, and when the anchor leaves the floor of this steel lock, the radio won't work anymore.
Well, just as soon as we get outside in the open air again, I'll fix up an aerial fast enough. 2nd level, huh? Things sure move on this island.
Only another minute or two, and the top of the island will be out of the water.
Yes, and if we don't hear from G-47 pretty soon about getting this yacht out of this lock, I'll go and ask him.
And that's probably G-47 now.
I suppose it is. Come in.
Oh, well, Skipper, come in.
And close the door. Island. What about the island? Rising.
Yes, Skipper, we know. The island will soon be out of the water.
Have you heard whether we're to be allowed to take the yacht out of this lot?
Yep.
We are to be allowed to take it out?
Aye.
How did you find out this?
The 1st level. Then the steel control chambers on the surface are coming out of the water now. We'll soon be out.
Aye. Did G-47 tell you we could take the yacht back out?
Yep.
Has he been down here on this boat talking to you?
Aye.
Funny he didn't call on us, isn't it, Tex?
Will.
He's on the boat now?
Aye.
Well, what's he doing here?
Looking.
Looking at what, Skipper?
Anchor.
What's he looking at our anchor for?
Radio.
Oh, of course, Tex. He's figured out that the broken aerial wires mixed up in the anchor chain have given us a good aerial.
Yeah, and he's probably doing something to it right now, so it won't be any good. Send him in here, Skipper, will you?
Aye.
And don't tell him you've told us he's on board.
Aye.
So, the old boy's been sneaking around out there on the deck looking things over.
I wouldn't worry too much about that, Tex. He told the skipper we could take the yacht out and anchor it in open water again.
Well, I hope it's right away, then. I've got a notion something's going to happen before very long.
This will be G-47.
Yeah. Come in.
Oh, G-47. Come in, won't you?
Oh, thank you. We've been wondering if you wouldn't pay us a visit before long. The island seems to be rising again, and we'd like to take the yacht back outdoors, if you don't mind.
Oh, you will be allowed to take the yacht out again, it will make Mr. Johnson feel more at home to be welcomed by his friends.
Yeah, some welcome. One prisoner welcoming another to jail.
Never mind that now, Tex. Will Johnson's boat be brought in at Pier 5? Will it lie near us?
I think that will be advisable. Then, when the time comes for the destruction of these boats, it will be simpler if they are in contiguous slips.
Destroy them?
Steady, Pat. I expected that remark.
The lock gates are opening now, if you care to listen.
Oh, Tex, listen. The gates are open. The water levels and the locks are evening up.
Sounds good to me. I've had enough of this dark lock.
Tex, look, the portholes. You can see the daylight even back here in this lock.
Now, the magnets are beginning to actuate this craft. We will soon be in the outer slip.
J-12C, Jerry Hall on Euclidean submarine to J-12C. Hello, J-12C. Hello, Johnson.
There's Jerry in the cell.
Oh, it's good to hear him again.
Silence. We must hear this.
Hello, Johnson. Hello. Calling J-12C. What's the matter, Johnson? We have not been able to raise your boat since we started towing you. Have important orders for landing your boat at Guildea when we cut loose our magnets at the island.
Advise Johnson, there is every possibility his boat will be wrecked on the island if he does not acknowledge and carry out these special orders.
J-12C. Hello, J-12C. This is emergent. Answer at once.
Will this transmitter work, Captain?
It will if your magnetic ring doesn't stop the beam.
It will not. Break Hall at once. Try to speak Johnson. Hurry. The time is precious.
Right. Break it, Hall. Break it, Jerry. Bradford on J24Y, calling Johnson on J12C. Let me have it, Jerry. I will now send from the yacht to Johnson. Special orders. G47 on board yacht. Let me have it, Jerry.
Okay, Tex. Hello to Yacht. All okay here. Go ahead, Tex. I can't raise Johnson. Go ahead.
Thanks, Jerry. Hello, Johnson. Bradford to J12C. Hello, J12C.
Something must have happened to Johnson's radio.
You will continue, Captain.
Right. J24Y to Johnson on J12C. Hello, Johnson. This is important. Can you hear me? Your boat is in danger of being wrecked against a steel artificial island unless you talk to the commander of the submarine who is towing you. Get her instructions before she casts your anchor off her magnetic towing fin. J12C, calling J12C.
What can be the matter, Tex?
Hello, Bradford. Oh. Hello. Can you get me?
Oh, Tex, it's all right.
Hey, Tex, I got Johnson here. Can you hear him?
Yes, I got him, kid. Let me have the channel now. Hello, Johnson. Getting you fine. What happened? No message from you for so long.
Sorry, Captain. My set has been dead. Was not advised we would be towed by magnets, and they paralyzed the set. When I heard the word magnet very faintly, I set about making a crude shield for the set. Okay now. What's the order?
Tell him to take his orders from the commander of the submarine.
Hello, Jerry. J24Y to Jerry Hall on submarine. Hello, Sub.
Okay, Tex. Go ahead.
G47 authorizes me to tell you commander of sub is to give orders directly to Johnson. That all, G47?
Have the commander advise me speed and distance from island.
Commander, Bradford to S1.
Yes, proceed, Captain Bradford.
Will you give orders to Johnson, then report to G47 on your position and speed?
Very good. S1 to Johnson. S1 calling J12C.
Go ahead, S1. Johnson on J12C. Ready, S1. Go ahead.
We are 15 knots from island. Stand by when within 1 knot of island. I will cut magnets off. You will be released directly opposite opening in the slip you are to use. Have you auxiliary power on board to take yourself in? Last few hundred yards. Reply.
Johnson to submarine commander. Have small electric motor. Should be good for 2 miles or more. Uncharged. Now in batteries. What about this island slip? I've received some wild messages supposedly from there. Is the island surrounded by fog ring? Will I need pilot?
No, your car will be clear. That is all, Johnson. G47. Commander S1 to G47.
Proceed, Commander.
Making 10 knots. Position due north of island. 28 degrees, 45 minutes south. Should be at Pier 5 in 90 minutes. Orders?
No orders. Proceed as you are. Your instructions to Johnson, excellent. That is all.
Very good.
Just an hour and a half and Johnson will be here. I'm glad to see him even if he can't help us. I'll be more than glad to get Jerry and Joan out of that submarine.
Oh, that'll help a lot.
You may expect me again when the boat is near. You may now use your radio as much as you care to.
Tex, look, that's sunshine. Let's go out on deck.
Right, dear. Come on. A little daylight won't do me any harm.
Oh, this is glorious. I've never appreciated the light as I do this minute.
Shows up that broken mast and the shattered cabin pretty badly, though. Say, that little pigeon was in his coat when the mast fell.
Oh, I wonder if he's hurt.
We'll know in a minute. Pat, come here. Look in the coat, quick.
Oh, Tex, the little bird isn't hurt, is it?
No, but Pat, look.
Tex, another pigeon in there, with a message tied to him. He must have arrived the instant the yacht came out.
Yes, and that's one of the pigeons from Johnson's boat. We've still got a chance, Pat. There'll be something in that message we can use before Johnson's boat is brought in here.
Presenting the adventures of Flash Gordon and Jungle Jim. Last week we met Jungle Jim, gentleman adventurer, down in Malaysia. With him was his faithful man, Kolu. They rescued a missionary, the Reverend Manly Chalmers, from a wildcat and were invited to stay for supper with him and his wife. While they were getting acquainted, there was a terrible crash. Kolu came running with the news that an airship of some kind had landed in the bush. Jungle Jim and the missionary, closely followed by Mrs. Chalmers and Kolu, ran to the wreck. It proved to be the spaceship containing Flash Gordon, Dale Arden, and Dr. Zarkov. After they were revived and it was found that they weren't seriously injured, Flash and Dale asked to be married by the missionary. The Reverend Chalmers declared that such a solemn step could only be taken after due deliberation and led the way back to his camp to discuss the matter. These thrilling adventures of Flash Gordon and Jungle Jim are pictured each Sunday in the Big Comic Weekly, the world's greatest pictorial supplement of humor and adventure. For Comic Weekly, each page printed in full colors is distributed everywhere as an integral part of your Hearst Sunday newspaper. And now we continue the story. Back at the camp of the Reverend Chalmers and his wife, after supper, Flash pleads his case.
You see, Reverend, Dale and I have been trying to get married for a long time.
Flash and I love each other very much, Mr. Chalmers.
I'm sure you do, Miss Arden. But as I said before, marriage is something that can't be decided in a hurry.
Excuse me, Reverend, but I did decide it in a hurry. The minute I saw Dale sitting across the aisle from me in that transcontinental plane.
And so did I, the minute I saw Flash look at me.
Excuse me for interrupting, Reverend, but I can assure you that never have I seen such true devotion as Flash and Dale bear for each other. The sincerity of these two young people impresses me greatly, Dr. Zarkov. And what you say adds weight. I know you men of science. Truth is paramount in all things with you. Science is based on truth, Reverend. No matter who may be benefited or who may be hurt, the truth must at all times be spoken.
Well, sir, what's your verdict?
My earnest young friend, I shall be delighted to perform the ceremony which will make you as one.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chalmers.
That's mighty nice of you, sir.
Well, it isn't my party, but I'm delighted myself. This is the first jungle wedding I've witnessed, between white people, I mean.
A jungle wedding. Oh, Flash, how exciting.
It's going to be different from the ceremony we kept looking forward to in Mongo.
I don't care about anything, as long as I have you, Flash.
You darling. And as far as I'm concerned, having you is a darn sight more important than any kingdom ever created.
Oh, my dear.
Excuse me, you two. I hate to break in, but just when is the ceremony going to take place? There's a steamer leaving for the States tomorrow night.
There is?
Yep.
Then why can't we be married tomorrow noon?
You can, my dear boy. And then Mrs. Chalmers and I will escort you in our motorboat to the steamer. Won't we, Mary, dear?
Of course, Manly. Oh, that will be wonderful.
Then tomorrow morning, Miss Arden, we'll go through the box of clothing we're taking to the mission and find a wedding outfit for you.
Find something for Dr. Zarkov and me, please, Mrs. Chalmers.
Yes, I surely need it.
Certainly.
Colo and I will build an altar for you in the middle of the jungle.
I'll gather some flowers for my bouquet.
I'll help you, Dale. We'll trim the altar Jim and Colo build.
Well, I'll set up our portable gramophone and dust off the recording of the wedding march.
Oh, Flash, isn't it gorgeous?
Not half as gorgeous as you are, Dale.
Thank you. But just think, we couldn't have an altar all trimmed in orchids if we were being married in the States.
That's only too true. Your color of gardenias is beautiful.
I thought it was when I made it. And to think, all this was had just for the picking.
I wonder what that can be. Jim? Jim?
Hello?
What are those tom-toms for?
Oh, some natives having a powwow. Say, you're the prettiest bride I ever saw, Miss Arden.
Why, thank you.
For once, Dale can't use the usual feminine reply to a compliment. Oh, these things, heavens, they're old.
I could say that, and it would be true. But I'm grateful to Miss Somebody for them.
As I am to Mr. Somebody for this blue suit and bow tie. Jim, have you the ring we borrowed from Mrs. Chalmers?
Right here. Keep your shirt on.
Where's Dr. Zarkov and Mr. Chalmers?
Well, Zarkov's getting dressed. The Reverend setting the gramophone so Mrs. Chalmers can play the wedding march.
All right, Miss Gordon. I think we're ready. You and Dr. Zarkov will come from the tent, Miss Arden, when the wedding march starts. He's waiting for you.
Well, Miss Arden, when we part again, you'll be Mrs. Flash Gordon.
I can hardly wait.
Well, I guess we can take our places at the altar, gentlemen.
Funny, sir. This is the thing I've wanted more than anything in my life, marrying Dale. Now I'm more scared to stand in front of that altar and go through the ceremony than I ever was when I rescued her from our enemies in Mongo.
It's the solemnity of the occasion, my dear boy. Now, you and Jungle Jim stand here at my left. That's it. All ready, Mary?
Master Jim! Something's happened. I've never seen Colo so excited.
Wait a minute. Stop the gramophone, please, Mary.
Master Jim, chief of tribe here say no wedding without native wedding. He got warrior all round here.
Oh, so that's what the tom-toms mean. They saw us preparing for this. Do you mind being married a la native first, Flash? It will simplify things.
No, of course not. Dale, come here.
Here come chief to perform ceremony.
What's the matter, Flash?
The natives intend to start trouble if we don't let them marry us for the local ceremony. Do you mind going through with it?
Of course I don't. I think it's thrilling. Our wedding will really be a jungle wedding in more ways than one.
All right, Chief. Shoot. What do we do?
Weini taunga, magataga daraita, ipang pananag kanimawai pabuega, yamo nagasira, et magayen nagapa, ak marua nagapanulos.
What's he saying?
We asked Derek to make a happy union. Give good hunting, and may you have all the things you need for the rest of your lives.
Hold out hands.
What's he going to do?
Anoint Flash's forefinger with coconut oil. See? He's tracing Flash's finger from the tip to the pulse.
Apayat magayan naga balad.
That means, may your good fortune ascend.
Apayat yagamen naga lapay.
And that means, may your bad fortune descend. And now he goes from the pulse to the tip of the finger. You're next, Miss Arden.
Apayat magayan naga balad. Apayat yagamen naga lapay. Here rise to one, Flash. Missy,
what do we do with these balls of rice?
The chief is making signs for you to exchange them.
Oh. Here, Dale.
And you take this one, Flash.
And now, friends, everything's okay with the chief. You're married.
Is that all there is to it?
Yes, that's all.
Why, it's terribly unimpressive.
Well, that's because it doesn't mean anything to us. Let's really be married now. Please take your places.
Come, Dale, back to the tent.
All right, Mary. Dearly beloved, we are gathered together here in the sight of God and in the face of his company to join together this man and this woman in holy matrimony, which is commended in Holy Scripture to be honorable among men, and therefore not to be entered into unadvisedly or lightly, but reverently, discreetly, advisedly, and soberly in the fear of God. Into this holy estate, these two persons present come now to be joined. If any man can show just cause why they may not be lawfully joined together, let him now speak, or else hereafter forever hold his peace. Who giveth this woman to be married to this man?
I do.
Flash Gordon, wilt thou have this woman to thy wedded wife, to live together after God's ordinance in the holy estate of matrimony? Wilt thou love her, comfort her, honor and keep her, in sickness and in health, and forsaking all others, keep thee only unto her, so long as ye both shall live?
I will.
Dale Arden, wilt thou have this man to thy wedded husband, to live together after God's ordinance in the holy estate of matrimony? Wilt thou obey him and serve him, love, honor, and keep him in sickness and in health, and forsaking all others, keep thee only unto him, so long as ye both shall live?
I will.
The ring. Flash, place the ring on Dale's finger and repeat after me. With this ring, I thee wed.
I thee wed.
And with all my worldly goods,
I
thee endow.
I thee endow.
Let us pray. O eternal God, creator and preserver of all mankind, giver of all spiritual grace, the author of everlasting life, send thy blessing upon these thy servants, this man and this woman, whom we bless in thy name, that as Isaac and Rebekah lived faithfully together, so these persons may surely perform and keep the vow and covenant betwixt them made, whereof this ring given and received is a token and pledge, and may ever remain in perfect love and peace together, and live according to thy laws. Amen. Those whom God hath joined together, let no man put asunder. For as much as Flash and Dale have consented together in holy wedlock, and have witnessed the same before God and this company, and thereto have pledged their troth, each to other, and have declared the same by giving and receiving a ring, and by joining hands, I pronounce they are man and wife. You may kiss your bride.
Dale, dearest, wife.
Flash, darling, at last I can call you husband.
This has been the most beautiful wedding I have ever seen in the field. Mrs. Gordon, allow me to wish you every happiness.
Thank you.
I don't need to tell Mr. Gordon that he is a very lucky man.
Indeed you don't, sir. Nor the happiest man in the world, for I know I am.
And please accept my good wishes. You deserve the best of everything.
Say, folks, I don't want to be left out. Mrs. Gordon, all happiness to you.
Thank you.
My congratulations, Flash.
Thanks very much. You've been awfully kind to us, Jim. Dale and I will never forget you.
I should say not. And when you come back to the United States, you must come and see us.
Thank you, ma'am. I sure will. And speaking of the States, I don't want to hurry you, but...
Bless my soul, we'd better be getting started if you want to make the steamer. Are you all ready?
Yes, we're going with just the clothes we have on our backs, thanks to your people back home.
Come on, let's get into the motorboat. This old Prince Albert could be a little looser, but it's very dressy looking, don't you think?
You look terribly distinguished, Dr. Zark.
Oh, thank you, Dale.
Well, since the Chalmers are taking us to the steamer, I guess there's just you and Colo to say goodbye to, Jim. Wish you were coming to see us off.
Well, we might if there'd been room, but it's just as well parting now. We can say it all here. And Colo and I better be getting back to that camp of ours, if there's any camp left.
You're right, Boss Jim. Maybe river pirates set fire camp while we're gone.
Flash, hurry. We're waiting.
Coming, dear. Well, so long, Jim. Thanks for everything.
That's okay, Flash. Good luck to you.
Goodbye, Colo.
Goodbye, Tuan Flash.
Hurry up, Flash.
Well...
Goodbye. Goodbye. Goodbye.
There go Mission Tuan boat. Downriver against sun.
Yes, Colo. There goes Mission Tuan's boat. You know, Flash Gordon's a great fellow. Maybe we'll see him again sometime. Well, I wonder what's going to happen to us next, Colo.
and be with us next week at this same time for the beginning of a long series of thrilling adventures with Jungle Jim. Each week, the Comic Weekly, distributed everywhere with the Hearst Sunday newspapers, reproduces Jungle Jim in full-color action pictures. Get acquainted with this sterling adventurer and with Kolo, his man Friday. See pictured for you by a famous artist all the leading characters as well as the natives, the wild animals, and the many queer forms of vegetation in the steaming jungle which forms the background to these thrilling adventures way down at the southernmost tip of Asia. Then, of course, you don't want to miss next Sunday's colored poster stamps. These wonderful poster stamps appear exclusively in the Comic Weekly and are drawn by famous artists especially for you. The official album of the Poster Stamps Collectors Club is available at stores everywhere. So if you haven't yet started your collection, be sure and get the Comic Weekly with next Sunday's Hearst newspaper and become an active participant in young America's newest and most popular educational hobby. And now, goodbye until next week, when we will be back with a thrilling adventure story of Jungle Jim.
The program you are about to hear is fiction, science fiction. We make no guarantees, however, how long it will remain fiction.
Exploring tomorrow.
And now here is your guide to these adventures of the mind, the editor of Astounding Science Fiction magazine, John Campbell, Jr.
Dreams are a remarkable thing, a remarkable power of the human mind. Freud, the psychoanalytical school, has held very important. But there's one aspect of dreaming that they deny, they overlook, perhaps. That's tonight's story. If someone handed you a photograph of a man's face and said, do you know who this is? Suppose that was a photograph of yourself 20 years from now. You'd have an awful hard time recognizing that. We can recognize a picture of something that we have seen. It's impossible to recognize something that we haven't yet seen. Let's say we have a patient who comes into a analyst's office, a badly frightened man.
Dr. Sharp, my name's Jim Bedford. I got your name from the National Health Trust. They say you're the quick shock analyst they'd recommend in this area.
It's nice of the Health Trust to say that. It builds up my morale in these troubled post-war times.
They speak very highly of you. I feel so darn silly running to a psychiatrist. That's for old ladies. Maybe we better forget it. I've got a lot of pressing work that I really should be taking care of.
Let's see, Mr. Bedford. Now, according to the data you gave my secretary, you're with the State War Reclaim Bureau.
Yes, that's right. I'm regional director. I've been with the Bureau all my adult life since 1971. Since the Doom War.
It must be rewarding work watching the radioactive ash cleared away, houses and stores springing up again after so many decades, seeing the city itself come back from the rubble, knowing you could take a good share of the credit.
That's right. It's going to be a long task, another generation.
Sit down and you tell me about it.
No couch? I thought all you psychoanalysts had couches. This office building was lucky to escape being hit.
Yes, it's one of the few pre-war buildings left in this part of Sacramento. Matter of fact, it was your War Reclaim Bureau that loaned my family the money to rebuild.
Doctor, why is it happening to me? What am I going to do? I have to stay at my job. Nobody else can do it. Nobody else knows this area the way I do. Nobody knows the people here the way I do.
You were born here, William?
Yes, I've lived in Sacramento all my life.
What is it that's bothering you?
I have some kind of hallucination. It keeps getting worse. I've tried to shake it, but it comes back bigger and stronger. Now it's getting so that I can't work. I can't do my job.
I'm starting up recall-inducing equipment, Mr. Bedford. It'll put you in a state of semi-sleep for a few moments. I'd like you to tell me what this hallucination is. Then maybe I can tell you why you have it. And maybe help you deal with it.
Damage inventories. Must be 1 million of them stuck in the basket today alone. Oh, I ought to quit and go to bed and get some sleep. Where's the report on that mutant rat they've been killing? One that spins webs. Better okay the extermination program. Poisoned grain probably be best if it eats grain. Probably have to ask for federal aid. Not enough funds to do the job right. Oh, I'll okay the extermination and hope they can raise the funds. Bad enough to have ordinary rodent infestation. Plague carriers, the worst possible sanitation menace.
Menace, huh?
Oh, it's you, Giller. How did you get into my apartment?
Front door was unlocked. I'm sorry to interrupt your work.
Well, I was about to stop. What time is it? It's midnight. Do you want a beer? I'm going to have one.
Siphon invaluable grain off to make beer in these times of need. Must be nice to be a big wheel and have luxuries. Your own stove, refrigerator. You know, I haven't had beer since last May.
You'll survive. You've always managed to. Trade some of that black market coffee of yours or some of those eggs from your chickens.
You know, we lost all our chickens. That blood disease from the old H-bomb blast. Take a look at this.
Your application for aid?
Turned down.
I know.
Why?
Don't ask me why. Oh, okay. I'm the responsible person. I turned it down.
You and I have been friends since we were kids.
So what?
You get a kick out of it, lording it over the people you've known. People who were something in the community before the Doom War. People you had to look up to and say sir to.
I'm sorry about your poultry farm. I'm sorry for all the poultry raisers, you included, and the beef raisers and the walnut growers, but certain things have to be rebuilt before others. Heavy industry comes first. Factories, steel and cement and fuel producers, synthetic fabric.
We're your people.
Good night, Giller. Write me a letter on the proper form.
I'll talk to you in a few days about my application for aid. Maybe you'll change your mind. Come around.
Giller ever got that farm going, he'd be the biggest black market operator in California. $5 a piece for grade A eggs, and he knows where to get it. Everybody trying to swing a deal, make money, cash in on people's hunger. I wonder if he's really gone, or if he's hanging around outside. People like him get on my nerves. I better go see. Make sure.
Has some kind of fear of a basic insecurity, a feeling that he's faced with a problem that he must solve, then can't solve. But he's got to solve it, but he can't solve it, but it must be solved.
Mr. Bedford. I'm falling. Help me, I'm falling.
No, you're not. You're here in my office, sitting in a chair.
Huh? Yes. But I was falling. I started to go out of my apartment. I opened the door to the hall, and there wasn't any floor under my feet, just emptiness. And I tried to grab hold of something, and there wasn't anything, nothing at all, anywhere. Just darkness.
What happened next? Were you hurt?
Doctor, how could I have been hurt? It was just in my mind. Maybe I stumbled or something, but I didn't fall because there was no place to fall.
Momentary dizziness from overwork, fatigue.
Yes, maybe.
And since then, you've had a fear of falling.
A phobia. Phobia about high places.
Okay, Mr. Bedford, let's try another recall. Now, this time, I want you to remember more about the falling and your friend Giller.
Stop it! Don't kill me! Don't throw me over the rail, please!
Shut up! Well, you probably think I'm going to give you one last chance before we toss you off this ramp.
Not my fault. I tried to get funds. Bureau's short on funds. Terrible task ahead.
He can't hear you.
Bedford, I came to you and begged you to okay our application, but you turned us down. You did all you could to block it.
Black market rebel? Police never seem to get you all. Probably bought off.
That's right, bought off. Now, look, Bedford, for old time's sake, you want to get in on this along with us. I'll let you in. I have a sentimental feeling towards you. I think you sincerely felt you shouldn't okay our application.
I never will. Even if you kill me.
Oh, you mean that?
I got my job, responsibility. Heavy industry comes first.
Remember when there were eggs, how the shells looked when they were dropped? Remember how it felt to crush the eggshell underfoot? How did that old nursery rhyme go about putting the pieces of the shell back together? By the way, Bedford, we're making sure the next regional director isn't so devoted to heavy industry. We're getting in somebody with, shall we say, an agricultural frame of mind?
Okay, let's finish this up and get going. Get him over the rail. It's almost a mile to the ground. How could a thing like this happen to me and be forgotten? Can a person forget being knocked down, kicked, and threatened with death?
It wasn't forgotten. It remained buried beneath, repressed. We'll have to try some more recall, Mr. Bedford. So far, I don't have enough to go on. Now, this business of Giller and his men beating and terrorizing you provides what's called the traumatic incident. The moment of fear that starts the chain reaction of repression going. But, are you willing to try another recall?
Not now, Doctor.
We shouldn't stop at this point.
I couldn't stand anymore. Tomorrow, maybe.
We'd better go on now, Mr. Bedford. Now, from what you recalled, I got an impression that there's no time to waste. I don't think they just beat you up and threatened you. I think they did throw you over the rail to your death. I think they killed you.
All right, Doctor. I'll let you start your recall inducing gadget again, but don't make me go back to that moment. Something else. I couldn't stand to see them standing there above me. Higher and higher, and then the ramp and the railing disappearing.
This time, I'd like you to think of something pleasant, satisfying. Perhaps a day in your work when you were particularly pleased with what you accomplished.
The public baths. Kids splashing around, lots of hot water. Wonder how many of us would be dead by now. Dead from contamination from the perpetual fallout if we hadn't built those huge pools and fountains over there. It's the hardest decision I ever made. I felt like a lunatic, giving them the go-ahead. A lot of people were angry about that. But after I saw the figures from the Anti-Radiation Committee, it had to be done. No matter how many people got angry. I know my duty. It's to the whole people, not a few special groups here and there.
You say you okayed the building of mass public baths, and you actually stood and watched the people bathing.
That's right. Togas, like ancient times.
Mr. Bedford, I want you to listen to me carefully. I have something important to say to you.
What's wrong, Doctor?
Well, as a licensed general practitioner, I've been interested in the idea of public baths as an anti-radiation measure. In my opinion, it's a sound idea. But the proposal hasn't yet been put through. No baths have been built. It'll be at least 5 years before the baths can be put into operation. The usual interpretation doesn't quite shake. Sometimes the dream isn't quite usual. If a man has a dream of the future, it's awfully hard to identify its source, because the source hasn't happened yet.
Tell me, Bedford, you were exposed to a great deal of radiation in the early part of your life, and so were your parents. That's right. We all were. We all went through the blasts and the heavy fallout of the war, the contamination of our food, water, homes, clothing. Do you remember any unusual exposure, either to you or to your parents, radiation approaching a dangerous maximum? Let me try to remember. I'm confused. You think I'm some sort of a freak.
Stop sitting there in the chair insulting yourself. You have to make plans.
Plans? There's nothing I can do. There's no way I can stop him.
Try to remember any toxic dose of radiation, especially in the earliest part of your life. Now go back to the enemy missile attack. Sirens. Can you hear sirens? You're possibly running toward a shelter. Your family running, too. Across a field, maybe.
I'm sorry, Doctor. I've had all I can take. I'll see you again some other time.
You're leaving?
Thanks for the help. I've got to consider all this. Maybe I'm not remembering the future. Maybe it's just a false memory, a neurotic fantasy. How could we check? If it's really in the future...
What's the matter?
I can't get up. What? I can't stand up. I'm afraid I'll fall. Doctor, now I can't even get to my feet.
Well, make yourself comfortable in your chair, and we'll go on with the therapy, as I said we should.
I guess I have no choice.
Now, you know what we're after this time. At some point in your life, you apparently were exposed to a near-toxic dose of radiation.
Wait for me. Hey, don't leave me behind. Come on back. Hey, Tony, wait for me.
Hurry up.
Okay. Let's get down. Get the metal lid off and lift it. They're almost here. Get the lid of the shelter up so we can get down there and be safe.
You scared, Jimmy?
Yes. Open that lid.
Not until you apologize for what you said in class the other day. You said my family moved here because they thought nobody would bomb this sector. You said my family was scared of being bombed. Okay, let's see.
Yes, I remember. When Tony and I were kids during the war. We got the scuffling, seeing who was braver. And while we were scuffling, the first warhead exploded a couple of miles up the coast.
So that's where you got the near-toxic dose?
Yes. The whole place was saturated. Hot. They had to rope off the rubble, close the roads. I was in the hospital for a month, down in the underground medical wards along with the real casualties.
Weren't you a real casualty?
No, I wasn't hurt. They made all the tests. They found no sign of tissue damage, blood count okay, bone marrow unaffected, no cancerous formations.
But now you know you were affected.
Yeah, I was affected.
Now listen to me, Mr. Bedford. You still have time to re-examine your dealings with Gillett.
You mean give him the bureau funds he wants so he can set up his black market operations? No, Dr. Sharp. I have my responsibility to the people of this area. Those funds have to be given to the proper applicants.
Even if it means your life?
Yes, even if it means my life. I'm still not going to give Gillett the funds.
I respect you, Mr. Bedford. I can see why the government gave you the job.
I've tried to do it right. I feel proud of what I've done. The hygienic baths, evidently I'll be successful there. That alone makes it worthwhile. I don't feel too depressed. All in all, it was worth it. A lot of people died in the war. My death comes a number of years later, but, well, I can possibly consider it as a bona fide war death. With honor. Hey, look, I can stand up now. I'm on my feet. Bringing up that material about the radiation exposure must have done it.
Do you intend to come back again and see me?
No, there doesn't seem to be much of a reason.
I'd like to keep on trying. Maybe there's a junction of possible futures. Some point in time at which we can deflect the future that's waiting for you.
I'll think about it. All right, Doctor. And thanks a lot for trying.
sorry to bother you, but this constitutes an emergency. I got, it's a compulsion. And it's following up my life.
Sit down. Tell me about it.
I have an irresistible urge to push people.
Push people?
Towards windows, out. What am I going to do, Doc? There was a little shrimp of a guy I pushed once, and one day a girl was standing ahead of me on an escalator, and I shoved her. She was injured. I'm afraid I'll eventually kill somebody someday. Some perfectly harmless person who never did anything wrong in his life.
The stone is never afraid of anything. The stone has no sense of futurity, no sense of a future to control. Wherefore, it has no fear. If you can feel fear, it means that you can sense the future. To the extent that you can sense the future, you can control it. You don't have to be stuck with any particular future. If you take the trouble to dream about the future, then you have a chance to do something about the future. If you don't like atomic wars, you have a chance to do something about it, provided you dream that it's there. Nightmare or not, you have a chance to do something.
Presenting the transcription feature, Superman.
Up in the sky! Look! It's a bird! It's a plane! It's Superman!
And now, Superman. When we last saw Superman, he had just driven back a mass of rioting convicts at the Western Penitentiary of San Miguel, using a 20-foot timber as a weapon. For a moment, the situation is saved, but only for a moment. The Wolf and Kino are still barricaded in the dining hall with a few desperate convicts. As our story continues today, Superman has leaped into a cloud of tear gas and vanished. But already word of his unbelievable performance has reached the office of the warden and has also reached into the dining hall, the hiding place of Kino and the Wolf. Listen.
Hey, boss, where are you? Here, Kino. What's the matter? Close the door. Listen. I just heard from one of the guys that tried to rush the gates. They couldn't do it. Why not? They were stopped. Forced back into the cell block. What stopped them? Not what. Who? Hey, boss, there was a guy in a red cloak that jumped over the wall, right out of a cloud of gas. What? A man in a red cloak? Boss, it's the same one, the one that stopped us from wrecking the Silver Clipper, and broke up our car and turned us over to the cops. He's here at San Miguel. No, it's not possible. Yeah, and I'll tell you something else, too. That reporter's here. That Clark Kent. Clark Kent? Yeah, I seen him myself, running around the corner to the warden's office. Ah, so Kent's here, too, huh? We owe that smart young man something, Kino, and I think this is the time to pay him. Kent doesn't know it yet, but the minute he makes a move or gets in our way, well... I get you. Say, how you going to wake it? Look, Kino, it's almost time. That gas is like a smoke screen over the yard. So what? Just this. When I give the signal, you and I and a few of the boys will dash across the yard to the steam plant. Hey, boss, suppose they shoot at us from the towers. Don't worry, they won't. In the first place, the warden doesn't want bloodshed. He's soft, you know that. He'll do his best to break the riot with tear gas. He'll tell him to shoot if we make a break. When we're ready to break out, Kino, they won't even see us. And they won't shoot when we rush for the steam plant. I've got a little trump card, Kino. A little surprise for the warden and Mr. Clark Kent. Help me fix this broken telephone wire, Kino. Open that box. If I can get the phone to work, I've got a little message for the warden. Now find that loose end. And...
And meanwhile, Superman, having forced the rioting convicts back into the cell block, unaware that the Wolf and Keno are barricaded in the dining hall, enters the warden's office as Clark Kent.
Who are you?
Is this Warden Bowman?
Yes?
I'm Clark Kent of the Daily Planet.
Warden speaking.
Warden, I'm calling from the dining hall.
What? Who is this?
You don't need to know, but you should know this. Miss Lois Lane is right here with us.
You've got Lois Lane?
Quite so, Warden. At the moment, she's safe, but she won't be safe long unless you do as you're told.
Man, think what you're doing.
Oh, I've thought, Warden. I've had weeks and months to think. When we leave this place, the girl is going with us. If there's any shooting, she'll be the first one to stop a bullet.
Wait.
And if there's a reporter named Clark Kent in your office, tell him to remember, too. Tell him to remember the Silver Clipper.
Wait, come back here.
Warden, the Silver Clipper. The man who spoke to you was the Wolf.
How did you hear that? How did you know who he was?
Never mind. If he's got Lois Lane, there isn't a second to waste. I'll be back later, Warden.
Hey, Kent, where are you going?
Just wait and see. I'm going to rush the dining hall. Have your guards ready when the mob comes out. So long.
Once outside the warden's office, hidden by the heavy clouds of rolling gas, Clark Kent in a split second becomes Superman, Man of Steel, and streaks for the roof of the dining hall.
Those devils. If they've really got Lois, I'll give them something they'll never forget. There's the dining hall. Look at those guards trying to force their way in with tear gas. They'll never make it. Watch how long it takes Superman. Down. Now then. Won't take me long to get in there. I'll rip through this roof in no time.
With hardly an effort, Superman bends to the roof, seizes sheets of metal in his bare hands, strips them off like paper, crashes through planks and beams, and leaps into the dining hall.
Hey, what's that? That guy in the red cape. I seen him at the gate. Run, beat it.
All over, boys. The riot stops right here. Now open those doors and march out in the yard with your hands up. Go on, move.
Who is this guy? Run!
Wait. Keep moving. Out there and turn yourselves over to the guards. And if I were you, I'd have my hands up. Faster, boys, faster. And Keno. Didn't see them anywhere. Must be hiding in the cellar with Lois. They won't hide long. Lois! Lois Lane, where are you? All right, if I've got to rip this place apart, I'll do it. But you'd better not be there when I find you, Wolf. Here I come.
But the Wolf is not to be found. Under cover of Superman's attack on the dining hall, he and Keno, carrying Lois between them, had slipped out a side door into clouds of smoke and made their way to the steam plant close against the prison's outer wall. There, with a small band of helpers...
Boss, what do we do with the girl?
You beast! Let me go!
Throw her in the corner, Keno. No, don't untie her hands.
What are you going to do?
Keep you with us, Miss Lane, as an antidote for Mr. Clark Kent.
Clark Kent?
Quite so. If Kent bothers us this time, I'm sorry, but it won't be too healthy for you.
Kent? But he isn't anywhere near here.
Oh, pardon me, but he is. Right up there in the warden's office, Miss Lane.
Kent! Kent!
Stop it, Keno, stop it. Yes, he'll be all right, but you better hurry, boss. They know we're here and they'll get ready to rush us. All right, get the cover up the steam tunnel.
Be all ready in a minute. Hold them off. Boss, they're getting closer.
You over there. Have you got the steam lines rigged?
All ready. The rush is now. We'll throw them in steam.
Here they come.
All right, turn on the steam. Point the nozzles down the yard. Let them have it.
While half of the Wolf's men work frantically to open the tunnel beneath the steam plant leading to escape, the others fight off prison guards with live steam from the boilers. And meanwhile, not having found either the Wolf or Lois in the cellar of the dining hall, Superman streaks back to the office of the warden as Clark Kent.
We're rounding them up now, sir. Came pouring onto that dining hall as if the devil was after them.
Half of them said the devil was after them. They yelled about a guy in a red cape. Said he came right through the roof.
What about the ones in the steam plant? We'll get them, Warden.
Warden, any news of Lois Lane?
Kent, where have you been?
Down in the yard, around the dining hall. I haven't seen a sign of Lois. Warden, what do you think?
Kent, I don't know. Warden, sir. They've turned live steam into hose lines. Look, they're fighting off the guard.
The fools! What do they think they can gain by that? They can't get anywhere from the steam plant.
Warden, sir. I saw them. They ran across from the dining hall. They had the girl with them, Warden. They've got the girl in there in the steam plant.
Hey, where are you going, Kent?
Hey, call that reporter back. Stop it. Catch him.
A race against time. Lois in the power of the wolf. Kent dashes into the yard, heedless of the warning cries of the guards, plunges into a cloud of steam, and at once becomes Superman.
Oh, no, I won't. I'll have them out of there in no time. Steam can't hurt me. Go on, boys. Turn it on full. And watch out for yourselves, because here I come, right through that door. Now then. Where are they? Oh, they fastened those hose lines to the window. Lois!
No! Please!
There she is. Faded, too. Got to get her out of here. Turn off that steam, quick. When she comes around, she'll just see Clark Kent. And so will all the rest.
Oh, the tunnel. Down that tunnel.
Hey! This way! Miss Lane says they got away down the tunnel.
No, they didn't.
Hurry up.
We got him on the other side. Miss Lane, are you all right?
Yeah, I'm all right.
Well, I reckon you can thank your friend Clark Kent for that.
Kent? I didn't see you. How did you get here?
Oh, gee, Miss Lane, never mind that now. Point is, I did get here, and just in time.
Was it you that got me out? I thought I saw a tremendous figure in a red cape.
Oh, gosh, I sure hate to disappoint you, Miss Lane. I guess you figured I was Superman.
Oh, no. Don't worry, Clark Kent. Why did you stop to look after me? If you'd been on your job, you'd have gone after those convicts down the tunnel. Oh, no. You'll never be confused with Superman.
Oh, look. Here comes the warden. Warden, is everything all right?
Hey, listen. We got them all but two. Two of those guys got away, broke through the tunnel, and got loose.
Warden, which ones? Which ones?
That fellow named Keno and the one they call the Wolf. Keno and the Wolf have escaped.
Lois Lane is safe and unharmed, but the Wolf and Keno have made good their escape, aided by the power of the Yellow Mask. And unknown to Clark Kent, a strange and terrible adventure lies directly ahead. Be sure to tune in next time and follow the story. And remember, be sure to tune in the next thrilling installment of the amazing transcription feature, Superman.
Up in the sky. Look! It's a bird.
It's a plane!
It's Superman!
Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Action Comics magazine. Presenting the transcription feature, Superman.
Up in the sky. Look! It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman!
And now, Superman. Faster than an airplane, stronger than a locomotive, able to leap tall buildings at a single bound, champion of the weak and the oppressed, tireless fighter for truth and justice. When we last saw him, Superman had just rescued Lois Lane from a gang of convicts at San Miguel prison, only to learn at the last minute that the two leaders of the riot, Keno and the Wolf, have made good their escape in the confusion. Alarms ring and sirens wail, but the two fugitives are nowhere to be seen. Kent and Lois return home, bringing their story of the riot. And by a curious coincidence, the Wolf and Keno arrive in the same city at about the same time. Following instructions, they make their way to the underground hideout of the Yellow Mask. Listen.
Now listen, boys. You sure you know where you're going? Certainly, Keno. Although why we were told to take this roundabout way, I'm sure I can't tell you.
Leave that to the mask, boys. He knows what he's doing.
Indeed, Keno. Then perhaps you can explain why he left us so long in that confounded jail.
Now, he knows what he's doing,
He should never have let us go to jail at all.
Well, how could he help it? That guy Kent, the reporter.
It's his business to help it. He made fools of us.
Better not let him hear you say that, boys.
He'll hear me say more than that when I find him. Stop where you are. We've arrived.
Well, I don't see nothing. This is just a blank wall.
Watch, Keno. There. Keep looking, Keno. Look right at the wall.
Gee, it's a door. Open up right in the rock.
Inside, quick. just in time, too. There's a police car not far off.
Hey, you think they're looking for us?
Possibly. But they'll never find us. Stand back, Kino, while the door closes.
It's pitch black. I can't see where I am.
It's a passage. Just walk straight ahead.
Is this where we'll find the mask?
I hope so, Kino. And when I do find him, there'll be a settlement which is quite a bit overdue.
Hey, boss, now think what you're saying.
Kino, I've made up my mind. The mask has run things far too long. It's my turn now.
Now, you can't say that.
But I do say it. Why should I take second place? I'll run things myself. From now on, there's not room for both of us.
As to that, my friend, I entirely agree with you.
It's him. The mask.
Turn on the lights. In the house of the mask, my friend, be careful what you say.
Very well, mask. You heard me. It's either you or I. And since I happen to have a pistol here in my pocket...
So, you brought a pistol, Wolf. This is the last time you stand in the way of high voltage. That finishes the wolf. Kino, I think I heard you use the term boss. You will remember after this to whom it applies.
Yeah, sure. Well, whatever you say. What did you want to see us about?
Plans, Kino. Great plans, in which you shall have a share. Plans that concern millions of dollars and thousands of lives. Stand quietly where you are, Kino, and listen.
And almost at the same time that the Yellow Mask tells Kino of his plans, Editor Perry White of the Daily Planet speaks to Clark Kent and Lois Lane of a new assignment.
Hello there, Lois. Come in. Close the door.
Did you want to see both of us, Mr. White?
I certainly did. You made out so well on that prison break that I'm going to send you and Kent out again.
Oh, gee, that's great, Mr. White.
I'm sure Mr. Kent could cover it much better alone.
Well, you're going along, Lois, so sit down and listen. Have either of you heard what's going on in Dryerville?
I haven't heard a thing about anything.
I have, Chief.
Oh, the human encyclopedia. He knows about everything.
You know where Dryerville is, Lois?
Only more or less, Mr. White.
Well, it's up in the hills. Flourishing little city of about 30,000. And since about 2 weeks ago, they've been calling it the Jinx Town.
The Jinx Town?
All those accidents. Is that why, Mr. White?
Well, first they thought it was funny. And then it got serious. Now they don't know what to think.
Why, what happened?
Curious, unbelievable accidents. Nothing very striking at first. Just all the radio sets went out of whack.
All at once?
All at once. And then the telephones.
Say, that might have been serious.
It was, Kent. Then 2 days ago, although there hadn't been any rains, the town was flooded.
Flooded?
3 feet deep in water. Without any warning at all, the Jefferson River went over its banks and mighty near drowned them all out.
Mr. White, anything else?
That was 2 days ago, Kent. Yesterday, all the electric power in the city went off. And today, they were rocked by a series of earthquakes.
Earthquakes?
What, in this section of the country?
Well, heavy explosions far underground, and they don't know what to make of it. People are excited, naturally, and now they're just a little bit afraid.
Well, do you blame them?
Well, asking themselves what's behind all this.
And that's where you're sending me and Kent, Mr. White.
If you're sure you don't mind, Lois.
Well, I'd feel safer with a more adequate escort.
Oh, gosh, Miss Lane, I'll do the best I can to keep you out of trouble.
Thank you, Mr. Kent. I'm usually able to do that much for myself. When do we leave, Mr. White?
As soon as you can. Get an advance from the cashier and hire a car.
A car?
What's the matter with the train?
I don't know. I just have a feeling.
Mr. White, what do you mean?
There's something back of this, Lois. I don't understand it. All these things aren't accidents.
Mr. White, you think they're intended?
I don't know, Kent. But if they are, well, I'd rather have you in a car than on a train heading into Dryerville. Come along. I'll see you as far as the cashier.
Yes, this is the Yellow Mask. This is A-15 reporting from the Daily Planet office. Go on, A-15. Reporter Clark Kent and the feature writer Lois Lane will arrive in Dryerville by automobile this evening. That is all.
Well, are you sure you know which way you're going, Mr. Kent?
Look, Lois, couldn't you call me Clark?
Sorry, for some reason I seem to prefer Mr. Kent, and I also prefer Miss Lane.
All right, Miss Lane.
As I was saying, are you sure you're on the right road?
Positive. There was a route sign back away to Dryerville.
Then aren't we almost there? What time is it?
Too dark to see. Mind turning on the dome light? Thanks. It's 11:30.
Look out, there's a car coming.
I see it.
Look out, he's coming straight at us. Mr. Kent!
The idiot, he almost put us in the ditch. Driving like a maniac, too. What's the matter?
Nothing, Mr. Kent. Was there anything strange about that car?
Strange? How do you mean?
I thought... Well, of course I didn't get a very good look at it, but I thought I'd seen it before.
Not me.
I thought it passed us a while ago going the other way.
What would he be doing that for? Oh, look here, Lois. I mean, Miss Lane. You're tired and upset.
Oh, no, I'm not.
No, I say you are. Now think about something else. How about switching on the radio, huh?
Thanks, I'd rather not.
Oh, come on. At least we'll get the late news.
Must you hear the news?
Why not? Give it a chance to warm up first. Look, Miss Lane, they're ahead. That's Dyerville.
Down there over the river?
Uh-huh. That's the Jefferson. We crossed the toll bridge, and then we're in Dyerville. Nothing doing on the radio?
I really don't know. Maybe it's broken.
Huh. Lights up all right.
Look out. There's a car coming up behind us.
Yeah, coming fast, too.
Mr. Kent, be careful. He's not turning out. Look out!
The crazy idiot.
Mr. Kent, it was the same car.
You're right. Wait till I get his number. Hang on.
Well, what's that?
There's the radio. I'm going to catch that fellow if it's the last thing I do.
Go back, Mr. Kent. What? Go back. Go back. Go back.
Mr. Kent, that voice. Where did it come from?
The radio. That's not possible. Someone called me by name.
Go back, Mr. Kent. Go back. Go back. Go back.
That car. That's where it comes from. There's a radio transmitter in that car. Now I've got to catch him.
Right ahead. There's the bridge.
No bridge or no bridge, I'm going to catch that car. Hang on, Lois.
It's gone, Mr. Kent. There's not a sign of it.
Well, there must be. It can't have vanished.
Mr. Kent, be careful. The toll bridge. There's a man there and the bars are down. Look out, we're going right through them. Did you have to go so fast? Just look what you've done to the gates. Lucky if they don't take away your life.
Hey, why do you think you're going? Can't you see the lights?
I'm sorry, officer. Really,
You bet you'll be sorry. Let me see your license, young fella. This here's a toll bridge, not a speedway.
I'll pay the toll.
I hope to tell you'll pay the toll. And you'll pay for them gates, too. And about $50 for reckless driving.
No, it wasn't reckless driving, officer. I was chasing that car ahead, and I just
What
had
car? What car ahead? You're the only car on this bridge in the last half hour.
I tell you, there was a car. I saw it.
Keep on, and you'll see pink elephants and green elephants.
All right. How much is the toll?
Never you mind the toll. That's the least of your worries.
The bridge. It's shaking. What's the matter?
The bridge. It's another quake. Run! Run!
Got to save the bridge and save Lois. Not much time. Good thing it's dark. They couldn't see Clark Kent change into Superman. If I can get down underneath it, down on the piers. Quick. It's going. Matter of seconds. Down. Down!
Down through the darkness, Superman plummets like an arrow, while the great structure of struts and cables sways and groans above the river, while the car containing Lois Lane slips, halts, and slips again nearer to the sudden brink that yawns suddenly where a moment before was solid pavement. Can the man of steel save the bridge of steel? Or have matters already gone beyond the power of even his incalculable strength? And whose was the voice on the radio? And what terrible fate hangs over the town of Dyerville? Tune in next time and follow the story. And remember, be sure to tune in the next thrilling installment of the amazing transcription feature, Superman.
Up in the sky. Look! It's a bird.
It's a plane!
It's Superman!
Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Action Comics magazine.
Build-up wheat cereal invite you to rocket into the future with Stand by to raise ship. Blast off -5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. As roaring rockets blast off to distant planets and far-flung stars, we take you to the age of the conquest of space with
on the eastern horizon throws a soft glow on the long, sleek shape of the rocket patrol cruiser Polaris as it stands at its launching berth on the Space Academy ground. Inside the gleaming spaceship, the 3 cadet members of its crew, Tom, Corbett, Roger Manning, and Astro, are going through the routine of a pre-blastoff check.
Does dial 4 amperage check, Astro?
Check, Tom.
As I was saying. Hold it, Manning. Something's coming through the news facsimile receiver.
It's just a news bulletin.
Listen to this. Central government hints at new clues in the mysterious disappearance of special cargo ship.
New clues? Space gas.
Now look, Roger.
Oh, don't mind, Roger. Tom, go ahead.
It has been less than a week since the space freighter Elsie Joe disappeared near the sun, loaded with an invaluable cargo of nearly pure vanadium. Already large quantities of the precious alloy have appeared in the black market on Earth.
Is that what they call a new clue? I could have told you.
Hold it a minute. Sources close to the central government now believe that the cargo freighter was hijacked, and an immediate investigation will be launched to establish the identity of the hijackers.
Now, I ask you, what kind of double talk is that? You've read the whole bulletin. We still don't know any more than when you started.
Nobody expects you to know anything, Bubblehead.
I wonder if they really have any leads.
I can answer that for you, gentlemen.
Captain Strong.
Right is, men. I see you've been reading the facsimile bulletin.
Yes, sir. They claim there's some fresh evidence on that hijacking job.
Yeah, there is. I just came from a briefing in Commander Arkwright's office where we were told that a small, privately owned rocket ship has been reported ferrying the vanadium in from a hiding place somewhere near the sun.
Well, sir, are they sure it's the same vanadium that was on the freighter?
Well, it has to be, Tom. They've checked the vanadium mining operation on Io, and the only quantity of the stuff that's unaccounted for is the load that disappeared under our noses.
I still don't see how they pulled off that job.
It's pretty clear to me. Captain Lamar was in with those hijackers. That's why he picked that crazy course and took a ship so close to the sun.
Very good, Manning. That's the way Central Intelligence figures it. Of course, we'll never know for sure unless we catch them.
Well, what are our orders, sir?
Is the Polaris going to try to track down that private ship? Right, Tom. Have you men completed your checkup?
Yes, sir.
Good. Then prepare to blast off. We raise ship in 10 minutes. What have you got, Manning?
Spaceship, sir. Third quadrant. Position 2150.
Solar Guard or merchant?
Neither, sir. It looks like the one we're after.
Well, patch it down here. I want to see the scanner.
Aye, sir. You've got it.
Here, sir. It's in focus now.
Yes. That's our baby, all right. Call them, Tom. Tell them to prepare for boarders.
Yes, sir. Polaris calling. Identify yourself and stand by for a boarding party. Spacecraft in position 2150. Identify yourself and stand by for an inspection party. Oh, they're not answering, sir.
Manning, alter course to intercept them.
Aye, sir.
Control deck to power deck. Stand by, Astro. We may need auxiliary power for maneuvering.
Standing by, sir.
Captain Strong, they're making a lateral sweep and firing auxiliary rockets.
Astro, give me full space speed. Manning, keep the fix on them. We can overtake them.
Oh, no, sir, we can't. They're pulling away.
Oh, it's impossible. We're at top speed.
Just the same, sir, they're getting away. She's too fast for us. We can't overhaul her.
We'll return to the exciting adventures of Tom Corbett, Space Cadet, in just a moment. So stand by.
Spaceman, suppose you were blasting off on a long trip to the outer planets. Well, you'd be mighty sure to check your ship over thoroughly. You'd make sure you had enough rocket fuel to get you there and back again. And you'd check your supplies, too, to make sure that you have the right kind of food on board to help keep you strong and healthy. Now listen to what Tom Corbett says about that.
Before each trip, our food locker on the Polaris is well stocked with Kellogg's Pep, spaceman. And you can bet it's just about empty by the time we get back. Kellogg's Pep helps to keep the whole crew supplied with the vitamins and food values everybody needs to build up strength and to keep up strength. So if you want to stay in trim, the way the Space Cadets do, take a tip from me. Start your day the spaceman's way with a heaping bowl full of Kellogg's Pep, the build-up wheat cereal.
And, Spaceman, wait till you taste the malty-rich wheat flavor of Kellogg's Pep. Why, you say the best-tasting cereal in the whole wide universe is Kellogg's Pep. P-E-P. Pep.
While on patrol duty in space, the rocket cruiser Polaris attempts to intercept an unidentified spaceship suspected of ferrying vanadium that has been hijacked from a government freighter. But to the utter surprise and chagrin of the Polaris crew, the renegade craft easily outdistances them and disappears.
It's no use, Captain Strong. She's so fast we can't even get a fix on her anymore.
It's incredible. I never saw anything like the way that ship pulled away from us.
It was those auxiliary rockets she carries that did it. That must be the fastest spaceship in the universe.
You're not just blowing your jets, Roger. That ship can really move.
Tom, get out a general CQ to all patrol ships. Tell them to be on the lookout for that craft.
Aye, sir. Polaris to all patrol ships. Polaris to all patrol ships. Watch for unidentified spaceship, believed to be the vanadium hijackers, moving at extremely high speed. Course undetermined.
If any patrol ship does spot her, Captain Strong, how are they going to overhaul her? I don't know, Astro, but we'll have to find a way.
Well, if we could isolate that ship in some single quadrant, Captain, one of our craft might be able to shoot her down.
That's what I had in mind, Roger.
Here comes something, Captain. We read you, Orion. Go ahead.
I just spotted the unidentified craft. Coordinates 61, 45, 67 by 43, 44, 22.
Check those coordinates, Roger.
Yes, sir.
You were right about her speed. Our attempt to overhaul her failed. She refused to answer our ID request and lost touch. We're going to maintain the search.
Thanks, Orion. Keep us posted. Spaceman's luck. End transmission.
Sir, with their report and ours, I think I've got a fix on her course.
Well, where's she headed, Manning?
At the moment, sir, right toward the sun.
All right, men. Prepare to alter course. We're going to follow her in as far as she goes.
Well, Mr. Wald, I presume you heard that conversation between the Solar Guard ships.
Yes, and I don't like it, Lamar. 2 ships reporting our position gives them a fix on our course.
Shall we alter it and head for outer space?
No. We won't be caught if we don't lose our heads. How far are we from our base now?
At this speed, some 7 hours or so.
All right, hold the course. We'll go there and hole up until it's safe to freight more of that vanadium back to Earth.
But what if they track us to our base?
The chances are pretty slim that they can do that, Lamar.
But if they do?
That will be too bad for them. Because if they do, they'll never live to report it.
Well, Captain Strong, that's that. Nothing to report. It looks like a clean getaway for those hijackers.
I wonder, Tom. Say, Astro, let's see that space chart again.
Here you are, sir.
Now, according to the fix we had on that ship, it was headed toward the sun, right, Manning?
Yes, sir. Not far from where the cargo ship was hijacked. You'd almost think they had their base on the sun. That's impossible. Look, Bubblehead, you don't have to tell me that.
Look here on the chart, fellas. At the present time, the sun lies directly between us and only one other planet.
Mercury.
Right, Tom. And since the Elsie Joe was hijacked very close to the sun, wouldn't it seem logical that the hijacker's base would be relatively close by?
Well, that makes sense to me.
Sure. Now, it looks to me as if we scared them, so they put on full speed and headed for their base, which is probably near here someplace.
Sounds right. And if true, they shouldn't be too hard to find.
Well, how can you say that, Captain? Mercury has a diameter of over 3,000 miles.
Yes, but they couldn't hide their base on the sunlit side of Mercury. The heat of the sun would be too much. Also, they would be detected too easily.
Well, they'd hardly set up a secret base in the Twilight Zone. That's the only place on the planet where there are any colonies.
Exactly, Astro, which leaves us only the dark side of the planet to search. Now, my guess is their base will be hidden there. Probably as close to the Twilight Zone as possible.
The dark side of Mercury. Oh, that's about as cold as Pluto.
Well, it's not exactly a pleasant place, but that's where we're going to have a look.
If I'd have known this, I'd have worn my electrothermal underwear.
Cut your jets, Roger. This is serious business. All right, men. Get to your stations. We're headed for Mercury.
Well, Lamar, have you picked up anything?
Yeah, a ship just came within range of our base radar, Wald. Headed this way.
Uh-oh. I was afraid of that.
By its contours, I guess it's the Polaris.
Polaris, eh? That strong ship. We've got to be careful of them. He's got a pretty good cadet crew.
I know. The Polaris was our escort ship when we pulled this job. I almost didn't shake them.
How long will it take them to get here?
Well, they should be in this latitude in another 10 minutes. Of course, they may pass right over. After all, this base is pretty well hidden.
Don't be a fool, Lamar. Our huts are bound to lose some heat no matter how well insulated. This makes it possible for their sensitive detectors to locate our base while still hundreds of miles away.
Well, then what can we do?
I've got a little surprise for them. Look here, Lamar. Ever see one of these?
Looks like an electron beam projector.
Right. It's an old weapon, but a good one. It will short out any electric circuit in a radius of as much as a mile.
But that's no good against the Polaris world. Every rocket ship in the last 50 years has had counter equipment triggered by the beam itself.
I know that, but I'm not going to use it against the ship, Lamar. I'm going to use it on the crew. You'll see what I mean when the time comes.
I won't have long to wait, then. Look at that screen.
Oh, they're entering the dark zone. What's their altitude?
Down about 60 miles. They've reduced speed, too. They're searching for our base.
Okay, let them find it. We'll be ready for them.
Any reaction from the screen, Tom?
Not yet, Captain. I'm adjusting the scanner now. Ah, here we are.
Well?
The detector indicates heat, sir, in small quantities, such as might escape from an insulated building.
Good. We've located their base. Put her on automatic stabilizer, Tom. We're going down. Good work, Astro. Come on up here. Tom, what about that heat source?
Well, we're somewhere within 1,000 yards of it, sir.
You can't see a thing out there. How are we going to find it? On foot, Roger. All right, men, break out the pressurized suits.
Right, sir. Let's go, fellas.
And Tom.
Yes, sir?
Break out that special survival kit, too. We'd better take it along with us.
Right.
Now then, let's have a check. Sidearms, infrared spot.
I have that, sir.
Portable radar.
Right here, sir.
Survival kit. I'll take that. Now, recheck the heating and pressure units in your suits.
We wouldn't be able to walk with all this junk if the gravity were anything to speak of.
Out there, without this junk, as you call it, Roger, we wouldn't survive more than 5 minutes. Now, stand by to open the airlock. There they are, Wald. They're coming out of the Polaris airlock now.
All right, Lamar. Turn on the beam projector.
Here it goes.
Let it warm up before you focus the beam.
It'll be ready in a minute. But you still didn't explain what you're going to do with it.
Let me get at that view plate.
No.
This has to be focused exactly right. Give me the precise range.
The ship or the crew?
The crew, of course.
250 yards.
Good. Well within the most effective range. It should work perfectly.
But that beam isn't powerful enough to stop a man at any range over 10 yards.
No, but it's effective enough to short out the heating units in their spacesuits.
The heating units?
Sure. Without those, how long do you think they can be active out there?
By Jupiter, they wouldn't last long. What an idea.
All right, Lamar, stand by. Just a few more yards, and we'll let them have it.
All right, men. Keep close together. Don't get separated in this darkness.
Will you listen to that wind? This is worse than Pluto. At least it's quiet there.
The detector indicates the heat source is over this way a few degrees, sir.
All right, Tom. Blast the spotlight that way, Astro.
Aye, sir. Huh. Still no sign of anything.
Well, they'll have it well camouflaged. You can bet on that. Keep your weapons ready. They may be tracking us.
The signal's at maximum, sir. We must be within a few yards of it.
Wait, Astro. Don't move the spot. I just saw something.
A flash of metal.
Very neat. Well, the ship must be concealed around here somewhere, too. Probably underground.
Hey, you know something, fellas? Imagination's a funny thing. Even in this insulated suit, I'm starting to feel cold.
You're space happy, Roger. How can you get cold with a heating unit in your suit? Hey, I don't feel exactly warm myself.
Hold it up, men. Something's gone wrong.
What is it, sir?
Our heating units aren't functioning. I'm beginning to feel cold myself. What about you, Astro?
Yes, sir. I hate to admit it, but I feel it, too.
Well, the heating units have conked out.
What are we going to do, sir? If we stay out here much longer, we'll freeze to death.
We'll return to the exciting adventures of Tom Corbett, Space Cadet, in just a moment. So stand by. Listen to the pound of those giant drivers, sending that locomotive speeding down the main line. Well, that's only one of the 16 exciting action pictures you can see in the Magic Moving Picture Eye series. And you get a Magic Eye free at no extra cost
in every package of Kellogg's Pep. How would you like to see William Holden, star of Paramount Pictures' Submarine Command, send up the periscope of the submarine and give the signal to fire the torpedo? Well, there's a magic eye that shows you just that. And there are other magic eyes that show you more movie stars, and trains, jet planes, and other exciting pictures. 16 different magic eyes altogether. Why, there's even a magic eye showing tennis star Bobby Riggs playing in a big game. You want to collect all 16 different magic eyes, so start now. Remember, you get a magic eye free at no extra cost in every package of the Build-Up Wheat Cereal, Kellogg's Pep. P-E-P. Pep.
In the merciless cold of the dark side of Mercury, where the temperature stands at almost absolute zero, 4 figures huddled together against a howling gale, their spacesuits rendered useless as protection against the elements, now that the vanadium hijackers have caused the heating units in them to cease operation. For a moment, they remain motionless in stunned realization of their plight. And then, with a mighty effort, Captain Strong forces himself to move.
The kit. I've got to get it open. What's that, sir? The survival kit. What good is the survival kit now? It can save our lives. If I can rip it open. There, that does it. I'm numb. Here. Emergency batteries. Quick, Tom. Attach this to your heating unit mechanism. Yes, sir. There's one for you, Astro. Manning? And I've got one, too. My fingers. They're so stiff I can hardly move them. Hurry. There's no time to lose. There. Yes, I've got it. I've got mine, too. Oh, my feet. Your extremities may hurt for a minute as the circulation starts again, but it won't last too long. My ears feel like they're going to drop off. Great galaxy, I didn't know how cold a man could be. We'll be all right soon. Not for long. These are only emergency batteries. Well, then, we'd better get back to the ship fast. Not yet. We've still got a chance to capture those men. How, sir? Roger. Astro, lie down on the ground here. You say lie down, sir? Yes, as though you'd collapsed. Come on now. Be quick. We've got to work fast. Okay, sir. Come on, Roger. Hit the deck. Now, we're going to try to trap these men out in the open. When they spot you two lying here, they'll be sure you collapsed from the cold. They'll think that Tom and I are somewhere behind you. Oh, I get it, sir. Astro and I are the decoys. That's right. Now, when they come out here to investigate, we'll be ready for them. Sounds like it might work at that. It's got to work. All right, Tom. You come with me. Yes, sir. But what if those men don't show up before these emergency batteries go dead? Well, that's the chance we've got to take.
All right, Lamar, you can shut off that beam now.
Okay, Wald.
That should take care of our visitors. Now we'll have a look. Get into your spacesuit. I want you to go out there and find them.
Me? Oh, no thanks, Wald.
What do you mean, no thanks? That's an order.
I don't care what it is. I'm not setting foot out of here alone.
Oh, so that's what's on your mind. You don't trust me, eh? You think I'll try to do away with you?
You guessed it.
Now, why would I want to do that, Lamar?
Because you don't need me anymore, that's why. You needed me to hijack that vanadium and help you establish the base here. But now things are getting hot, and I happen to be the only one who can put the finger on it.
Oh, you're crazy.
Am I? Don't forget I saw what happened to Franklin.
I had to get rid of him. The easiest way was to dump him in space.
Well, I'm not going to make things so easy for you.
Okay, if you feel that way, break out my spacesuit, too. We'll go out there together.
I'm afraid our trap's not going to work, Captain Strong. It's beginning to look like it, Tom. And we can't wait much longer. These emergency batteries will conk out any minute now. Hold it, sir. What is it? Look over there. That big boulder. Say. Well, for a second, it seemed to be moving. It is moving, sir. Look, it's the entrance to their underground hideout. 2 men are coming out. Stay down and keep them covered. Don't worry, sir. I sure will. Don't make a move now. Hey, They're going over toward Astro and Manning.
That's just what I was hoping they'd do. Now we can move in behind them. Come on, Tom.
I'm with you, sir.
Loosen their spacesuits, Lamar. Make sure they're finished.
Okay, well, you keep looking for those other two.
That won't be necessary, mister. We're right behind you.
Strong. Drop those weapons. We've got you covered.
Astro, Manning, disarm them.
Right. You heard the orders. I'll take those guns. All right, you got it.
I'll say we have, and we've got the vanadium, too.
Good work, men. Step on it now. Let's get them aboard the Polaris.
Yeah. I want to be where it's nice and warm when these batteries go dead.
Roger, this is one time you and I agree completely.
Don't miss the next action-packed adventure with Tom Corbett, Space Cadet. An adventure in which the cadet crew of the Polaris face death in space as the victims of willful sabotage in an interplanetary space tournament. Tune in, same time, same station, for the next thrilling interplanetary adventure with Tom Corbett, Space Cadet. Brought to you by Kellogg's Pep, the Build-Up Wheat Cereal. Tom Corbett, Space Cadet, starring Frankie Thomas, can also be seen on television and appears in the comic sections of many of America's leading newspapers. Look for it daily and in weekend editions. Featured in the cast were Al Markham, Jan Merlin, Edward Bryce, and James McCallion. Today's program was written by Gil Braun and directed by Drex Hines. Jackson Begg speaking.
Kellogg's Raisin Bran has a secret. Kellogg's Raisin Bran has a secret.
And what a secret. In Kellogg's Raisin Bran, the tasty raisins are dipped in honeycomb. That means plumper, more tender raisins along with delicious golden crisp bran flakes. Both fruit and cereal all in one box. And no other raisin bran but Kellogg's gives you the tender goodness of raisins dipped in honeycomb. That's Kellogg's secret. So for your breakfast, make sure you get Kellogg's because
Kellogg's Raisin Bran has a secret.
Worried about income tax? Wonder if spring will ever come? Want to get away from it all?
We offer you Escape.
You were alone in your book-lined study, listening to the idiot gibberings of a parrot, and beside you, caressing you, is an invisible thing, a loathsome thing, from which you must escape.
Escape. Produced by William N. Robeson and carefully contrived to free you from the four walls of today for a half hour of high adventure.
Today, we escape to the West End of London, to a little house just off Hyde Park, where lived a man who didn't like people. Today, we escape in the remarkable tale of Robert Hitchens, how love came to Professor Guildea.
It has been said that no night ever passes over London town that sees not some strange and curious event, some occurrence too incredible to bear repeating in the light of day. How horribly true are those words. It's been over a year now since the night I first met the amazing Professor Guildea. I had delivered a sermon at the rectory of St. Swithin in the East End, and was passing through the foyer in departure when I was accosted brusquely by an odd little man, remarkably sharp-featured, his face adorned by a pointed black goatee.
Moment, please. I believe you're Father Murchison?
Yes, that's right, but I don't think I've had the pleasure of...
Perhaps you've heard of me. My name's Guildea, Professor Guildea.
Guildea? Why, yes, you're the famous psychologist.
Yes, psychologist, biologist, anthropologist, philosopher, and that takes care of that. Sir, I never attend religious services.
It appears you've done so tonight.
I came for one reason, to hear you. Find out why an otherwise normal colleague of mine thinks you're the most convincing speaker he's ever listened to.
And did you find out?
No, your talk was intelligent, logical. Therefore, it could never convince anybody of anything.
Thank you. You're a direct man, Professor Guildea.
No time to be anything else. I'd like to have you dine with me, Father Murchison. Say a week from tonight, 7 o'clock. I live at number 100 Hyde Park in the West End.
Can't we make it 2 weeks? I'm preaching at St. Saviour's that night, just round the corner from the park. And I'm afraid it'll have to be nearer 8:30 than 7. The service isn't over so early.
We can't even agree on a time for dinner. Very well, 8:30, 2 weeks. Good night, sir.
Perhaps if I had known then what I haven't, no matter. I kept the appointment, of course. After an excellent dinner, we climbed the stairs to Guildea's study. A large book-lined room running the width of the house, with windows at the end overlooking the park. In front of those windows stood the one incongruous thing in the room. A cage holding a large grey parrot. In fact, as I recall, it was the parrot that was responsible for my first becoming aware of what exact opposites Guildea and I really were. The same parrot that was responsible for so many other things that happened later.
Quiet, Napoleon. One day that infernal squawking of yours will drive me to wring your neck.
Somehow it surprises me, Guildea. I mean, you're keeping a pet.
I possess a parrot, Father Murchison, that's all. Made a study of the imitative faculties of animals some months ago. Bought the bird then, never got rid of it.
I see.
Started the bad habit of scratching the fool thing's head. It loves it, you see. In 5 minutes he'll be screaming for more of it. Why would it surprise you so much if I kept a pet?
Because I believe you're the most self-sufficient man I ever met.
More than that, actually. I detest affection, any display of sentimentality.
But you do feel the need of close human sympathy in your life.
None whatsoever. A reasonable amount of companionship, naturally, but that's all. Father Murchison, I'm one person who does not love his fellow men.
Nonetheless, some of your discoveries have been of great benefit to mankind.
Entirely accidental.
I thought you would be liking a coffee now,
Oh,
sir.
yes, Pitting. Put it down on the table, please.
Thank you, sir. Will there be anything else?
No, that's all, Pitting.
Yes, sir.
An excellent servant there. I know nothing of Pitting's thoughts or feelings, nor he of mine. Perfect relationship.
And if a crisis occurred, if you needed to call on him as a friend?
It would take a considerable crisis.
What about the parrot? Surely you must regard it with some affection, otherwise you'd get rid of it.
Napoleon, merely a specimen. Bird as devoid of sentimentality as I am. He can only imitate whatever he sees and hears.
Guildea, have you ever been in love?
Neither with anyone in particular, nor with love itself. Being in love, as you put it, or having someone in love with me, would be the most monstrous and horrible situation I could possibly imagine.
All of a sudden, I feel a very great sense of pity.
For whom?
For you. Yet, as different as we were, my life dedicated to all humanity, and Guildea's life stripped of its own humanity, I called again at the house at Hyde Park many times, and we became friends. We talked away many evening hours in the months that followed, sitting by the book-covered table in the long study, the grey parrot chattering away in the background, with the lamplight barely reaching the farther corners. It was on such a night not long ago that the thing began. Guildea had seemed uncommonly nervous since dinner, and had spent much of the time pacing in front of the windows that faced the park.
How's it, Murchison? I can't seem to relax tonight. I ever feel a completely unaccountable presentiment? A sense that something remarkable was about to happen?
Oh, yes. Usually it never did. Turned out to be the effect of too much coffee.
Oh, it's not that. Coffee doesn't bother me. Nothing does.
Well, then suppose you stop pacing the floor and sit down. You're wearing me out.
Noticed how well Napoleon's learned to imitate your voice?
Yes, I have, and it's almost insulting at times.
The worst thing is feeling such a strong compulsion to do something which I know to be ridiculous.
Exactly what is it you're talking about, Guildea?
Well, it's foolish even to mention it, but I wonder if you'd pardon me for a few minutes.
Of course.
Help yourself to more coffee. I'll be right back.
I walked over and stood stroking the feathers of the parrot through the bars of his cage. I'd grown rather fond of the ugly bird, but it always startled me to hear him mimic some phrase of mine or Guildea's. Napoleon, you're a true creature of the devil.
Creature devil.
I happened to glance out of the window toward the park across the street. The arc lamp at the corner threw a dim gleam across a bench set just inside the paling. And I was surprised to see Professor Guildea moving about the bench, peering under it, behind it, staring into the shadows nearby. He kept this up for some minutes, then crossed the street and came back toward the house. In a moment, I heard him ascending the stairs.
Father Murchison, has anyone entered this room since I went out?
I know. You mean Pitting, of course. He hasn't been in.
Strange. Very strange.
I saw you across the street in the park. What were you doing?
I thought I saw something, wondered what it was, that's all.
Did you find out?
No. What's wrong with the parrot? Never made a sound like that before.
What do you mean? He seems all right.
Napoleon, stop that.
What was it you thought you saw?
Nothing. As you said, most likely it was the coffee. Only I'm very much afraid that... Oh, no. In this day and age, it's impossible.
It was nearly a week later that I received a phone call in my quarters at the rectory. Father Murchison here.
This is Pitting, sir. Professor Guildea's man.
Oh, yes, Pitting. How are you?
Very well, thank you, sir. The master would greatly appreciate your calling at the house this evening, if it's convenient, sir.
Oh, anything wrong?
I could not say, sir.
But why didn't he phone himself? He isn't ill.
I think not. He suggested 8 o'clock, sir. May I tell him you'll come?
Yes. Yes, by all means. Tell him I'll be there at 8.
Beating about the bush, Father Murchison. I am nervous. Of course I am. Plenty of reason for it.
Oh, you're working too hard.
Now I'm working too hard. The other night it was coffee. As a matter of fact, it's neither one. Be quiet, Napoleon.
Maybe you'd better tell me just what is the matter, Guildea.
Do you feel the presence in this room of anyone beside the two of us?
Well, there's Napoleon, of course.
No, I don't mean the parrot. He senses it too, though.
Senses what?
When you were here last week, I left the house for a few minutes, you remember?
Yes.
I'd been watching someone sitting on that bench across in the park, a shadowy sort of figure. I had to find out what it was.
But you found nothing. You told me when you came back.
That's right. But I left the front door open. When I came back in, I felt suddenly that someone or something had entered ahead of me.
Oh, come now, really, Guildea.
I knew also that they'd found their way to this room.
But I was here all the time. No one came in.
Father Murchison, whoever or whatever came into the house that night, came into this room, is still here right now.
You, Guildea, a scientist.
Yes. Ridiculous, isn't it? But it's true. I'm only able to feel its presence. Napoleon can see it. Look at him now. Now, wouldn't you say he was watching something over there in the far corner of the room?
No, I'd say he's just being as foolish as a parrot usually is.
You, a skeptic?
About this, yes. You've been working too hard. You need a vacation.
I haven't told you the worst part of it. Would you say that I'm an attractive man?
Frankly, no. Oh, I suppose to a certain type of society woman you might...
No, that's not what I'm talking about.
Well, then, what are you talking about?
I don't know whether this intruder is a woman, man, child, animal, but whatever it is, it holds a vast affection for me.
What?
You imagine anything so utterly monstrous, horrible? Murchison, the thing, is in love with me.
I could not, would not accept Guildea's belief. And yet the alternative was even more frightful. For I could only decide that the long hours of study and lecturing had affected his mind, had brought him in fact to the verge of insanity. I persuaded him finally to get away for a while, leave the house, forget his professional problems, take a short trip. I accompanied him to Victoria Station. saw him off on the boat train, and then, caught up in my duties, I had little time to consider the strange affair for nearly 10 days. Father Murchison here.
I hope I haven't disturbed you.
Professor Guildea, then you're back in London.
Yes, I've been back for 3 days.
Well, you should have called me. How was the trip?
Quite pleasant. I took passage on a channel coaster. The sea air was wonderful.
You weren't troubled on the trip?
Oh, no. Not at all. It waited here for me.
What? Then you mean to
Could
tell
you
me...
come over here tonight?
You mean now?
Yes, if you could. You see, I can prove it to you now.
Very well. I shall come right over. I stood there by the phone and shivered. The thing had become so real to him now that he felt he could go away and leave it, then come back and find it waiting for him.
That's why I didn't call you when I first came back. I wanted to be sure. So I've waited 3 days, and every day has been worse than the one before.
In what way? What do you mean?
I mean, the thing was waiting for me here. Glad I was back, fawned all over me. It was more insistently obnoxious all the time.
Guildea, do you mean you've seen the thing? Heard it?
No, I haven't seen it, haven't heard it, but I know it's here. I can feel it, sense it. Try to put it in words, and it becomes absurd.
If you'd like some unsolicited advice, call in a doctor. Have him look you over.
And what doctor in London knows any more about the human mind than I do?
I know, but when it's your own mind...
No, you're thinking of hysteria, hallucination. I know all the symptoms. It's not that simple. Anyway, I told you I could prove it to you. You'll notice I've thrown a cover over Napoleon's cage.
Yes, I've been wondering about it.
Part of my proof. He's been here, you know, all the time I was gone, here in this room.
Yes, but
I want you to get behind those curtains with me. Then I'll reach out and pull the cloth off his cage. I don't want him to see us.
I don't know what you're hoping to prove, but, all right, come on.
Ready? I'll uncover him.
We crouched there behind the curtains watching the parrot. He protested a while at being so rudely disturbed by some unseen agency. Climbed about the cage with claws and beak, pecked at crumbs, appeared entirely normal. After a time, he began to fix his attention on a spot across the room. There was nothing there.
Watch him. Look at him now.
In the parrot's mind, at least, someone or something was approaching the cage. And yet, the room was empty. Whatever it was apparently had reached the cage now, and Napoleon welcomed it with friendly chortling. The hairs rose on the back of my neck, for the bird was cooing and gurgling as he did when I or Guildea scratched the feathers on his head. I could almost fancy that I saw long, white, ghostly fingers reaching through the bars of the cage.
Watch him and listen to him. He's talking to the thing, imitating it. See what you think.
The bird was moving about in the cage now, nodding his head in a very peculiar manner, uttering the most extraordinary sounds. I began to realize that he was imitating the thing he saw standing by his cage. And then the full horror of it came over me. I tried to hide the thought from Guildea, but he'd already seen it in my eyes.
So you see it, too. That's all I wanted to know. That I wasn't imagining it. There's no point in hiding there any longer. That was my proof.
But perhaps someone was here while you were gone.
I've questioned Pitting and the cook. No one has been here.
It can't be. Such a thing just can't be.
Father Murchison, it is.
Well, where? Where is it now? Can you tell me where it is?
Not exactly. Somewhere in the room, not too far away. I can feel that. Napoleon, of course, can see it.
There is some rational explanation, Guildea. There has to be.
You're whistling in the dark, Father. You recognize the same thing I did.
I know what you mean, of course.
I can't stand much more of it. There's only something I can fight, strike out at. I'm not a coward, but I can't see it, hear it. I can only feel it trying to touch me somehow, trying to get close to me, drooling with desire and affection, fondness for me. I can't keep it away. It gets closer all the time.
Guildea, you've got to get hold of yourself.
Get hold of myself. You saw the way that parrot imitated the thing, those mannerisms, that gibberish. You know what it means as well as I do.
I saw it, but it can't...
Can't you feel how hideous it is for me? I can't stop it. thing makes love to me, caresses me, and whatever it is, it has no mind. You saw that. That thing is a slobbering idiot.
I walked home at a late hour, trying desperately to think of some reasonable answer to the whole strange affair. I could not accept Guildea's explanation of the actions of the parrot, though the bird had produced an extraordinary illusion of an invisible presence in that room. In a day gone by, perhaps I might have been called in to deal with an evil spirit. I thought of retribution. Guildea had always borne an unnatural distaste for human love. Was he now being forced to endure the unnatural love of some monstrous being as punishment? I cast such thoughts away from me, yet I could not quite accept the only other reasonable solution, that my friend was insane. It was very late when I fell asleep. The following evening I preached at Warwick Chapel and returned to my quarters about 9. I found that Pitting had called a short time before and left a rather puzzling message. Implore that you come to Hyde Park at once. Otherwise I cannot answer for the consequences. But what is it you're trying to say, Pitting? He's not himself. In what way is he not himself?
I can only suggest, sir, that you talk to him yourself. Here we are.
Yes, come in.
I'll leave you now, sir.
Oh, Murchison, come in.
Guildea, what in the name of heaven is wrong? Pitting said you'd been upset, but he didn't say...
Inhuman machine.
What happened? What did he do?
Nothing. That's just it. Nothing.
But I don't see then what
you warned me about it once. You said I'd meet a crisis, need him as a friend, and he wouldn't be there. Well, it happened.
But here, I'm going to call a doctor. I've never seen you in a state like this before.
No, I don't need a doctor. I'm all right now. For a little while, anyway. At least I think I am.
Then what was it? What happened?
That thing touched me. Really touched me, I mean, for the first time. It's only been trying to before. The only way I can put it, it rubbed itself against my soul. It was horrible.
Now, Guildea, you...
Don't tell me! I've got to get hold of myself. I know what I'm saying. I'm sorry. If you'd felt it yourself, you'd know what I mean. It was disgusting. Filthy. If it lasted one more minute, I know I should have gone screaming mad.
But you don't feel it now?
No, not now. I lost my head, I guess. I struck out with my fists. I tore at myself, screamed for help. Pitting came and thought I was drunk. But I could feel it touching me, sickening, soft, tender, inside of me.
But it left you then. You forced it away.
Yes, it's still here in the room somewhere, but it hasn't tried to touch me again.
Well, that settles it. Guildea, you're leaving here tonight. It didn't follow you when you took the trip before. It stayed here. That's one way you can be free of it.
Then you believe in the thing, too. Believe it's real.
It's real for you, and that's enough. Now, if I remember it, you're giving a lecture at Oxford the last of the week. You're going on up there now. I'll help you pack.
I could do that. I could stay at the Grosvenor tonight, take a train in the morning. It's right near the station.
And it's all agreed. I'll get at it.
Wait. Look at Napoleon. Standing there by his cage. He's talking to it. Imitating it. Can you imagine what that thing must look like?
Never mind. Let me help you start packing.
But I didn't tell you what it really did this evening. What came closest to driving me insane.
It doesn't matter.
The thing kissed me, Murchison. But not from the outside. What? I could feel it. Warm and wet. Kissing my lips. From the inside.
Guildea stayed at the hotel that night and caught the train out to Oxford the next morning. 4 days later, I received a wire from him. I'm still feeling a bit shaky, but everything else is all right. No sign of any visitor. Why don't you try to come up for the lecture Friday night? And please get rid of Napoleon for me. Signed, Guildea. On sudden impulse, I decided to accept his invitation. My train was late, and I arrived at Oxford with only time enough to go directly to the seminar. I slid into my seat just as Guildea was introduced and began his talk. He was pale and perhaps a bit drawn, but seemed otherwise composed and in control of himself. As I sat there, my mind wandered away from his talk, seeking some solution for the horrible problem which I regarded as being as much my own as Guildea's. I decided I would try to persuade him to sell the house in Hyde Park Place, since his strange fixation seemed to be bound up with it. Try to find lodgings elsewhere. Some 10 minutes passed when suddenly I noticed Guildea was becoming very nervous. He faltered in his talk, seemed to be confused. He stood there on the platform, deathly pale, his hands out as though pushing something away from him. I knew what was wrong. Pardon me, please. Could I get through? Pardon me, let me to him, please. Pardon me, I'm his friend. Guildea, can you hear me?
Murchison.
Yes. Everything's all right.
It came here. Found me out. It rubbed up against me on the platform. It's no use. Take me back to London.
We arrived back in London late the next afternoon. Guildea was a broken old man. He shivered continually, trembled as though shaken by a chill. He claimed to sense the awful presence of that thing always nearby us, accompanying us, and he was constantly terror-stricken lest it might try to touch him again. I stayed with him in the house in Hyde Park, and as night drew on, we sat in the long, book-filled study on the second floor. Pitting brought coffee to us and then withdrew. We found little to talk about, and the silence of the room seemed doubly oppressive without the familiar chatter of the parrot in the background.
What did you do with him, Murchison? Napoleon, I mean.
I boarded him with a pet shop in Shaftesbury Avenue. I thought you might want him back again after you'd reconsidered.
No, I don't want him back. You still can't feel its presence, can you?
No, Guildea, I'm afraid I can't.
Wish to heaven I couldn't. It's in here with us now, you know.
Now, please.
It doesn't matter. That's no use. I can't fight it any longer. There's no way to fight it.
Perhaps that may be the answer, to stop fighting it. You said yourself that you felt it was fond of you, meant you no harm. Then why not stop fighting? Try to return its fondness, its love, if you will.
You don't know what you're asking. Even the thought of it sickens me. Fondness, love for that thing.
Perhaps it may be the only way out.
Then there's no way out. I tell you, Murchison, I've only one feeling for that creature. That's hatred. Hatred, disgust, and hatred.
Please, try to be calm.
Wait.
What is it?
Perhaps that's it. Listen. Whatever you are, beast or devil, I hate you, do you hear? I hate you. Murchison, that's doing it. It's recoiling, withdrawing, I can feel it.
Guildea, please.
I hate you. I hate you. Murchison, it wants to leave. It's beginning to hate me, too, but it wants to leave now. Open the door. Go downstairs and open the front door. Open the front door and let it out.
All right, Guildea, if you'll feel better about it.
It wants me to go alone, but I know how to fight it now. Go, Murchison, hurry. I hate you. I hate you. I hate you.
I ran down the stairs and threw open the front door. I stood there, breathing in the night air. It was clear and cold, and the stars hung overhead. I looked across to the park, saw the glow from the street lamp falling on the empty bench directly opposite. And at that moment came a sound that froze my blood with horror. I stood there, paralyzed, unable to move. Seconds passed, perhaps minutes, I don't know. I don't know how long I stood there. I glanced across at the empty bench, and for one moment thought I saw a shadow sitting on it. A vague shadow as Guildea saw it one night weeks before. And then the bench was empty, and I heard Pitting running down the stairs.
Oh, Murchison, come quickly. Professor Guildea, it was his heart, I think.
Yes, I believe it was his heart.
But Father Murchison, he's lying up there now, sir. He's dead.
Dead? Dead, Pitting?
I hope so. I sincerely hope so.
Escape, produced by William N. Robeson and directed by Norman MacDonald, today brought you How Love Came to Professor Guildea by Robert Hitchens, adapted for radio by Les Crutchfield, with Louis Van Rooten as Professor Guildea, Parley Bear as Father Murchison, Harry Bartell as Pitting, and Paul Frees as the Parrot. Music was conceived by Cy Fewer with Richard Orant at the console. Next week,
when the coming weekend offers little to stir the imagination, when routine inactivity stares you in the face, when you're already tired of doing nothing, we offer you Escape.
Next week, we bring you another exciting story of high adventure. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Rogers in the 25th century. And the shower of silver dollars from Popsicle Pete's money box. Buck Rogers, the amazing young fellow who was born right here in our own 20th century, but who was held in a state of suspended animation for 500 years. And now he's living in the highly mechanized and super scientific world of the 25th century. In company with Lieutenant Wilma Deering, a girl soldier, and Dr. Ewer, the greatest scientist who ever lived, his life is one thrilling adventure after another. For just recently, they flew their rocket-powered spaceship to the far-off planet Jupiter to run down Killer Kane and Ardela, arch criminals of interplanetary space. But now they're back on Earth again. And our story opens in the weird and wonderful laboratory of Dr. Ewer at Niagara, the capital of 25th century America. We find the old scientist alone, working feverishly over a mass of strange diagrams and complicated formulas that cover the top of his desk. Let's join him there. Here we go, 500 years into the future.
Read output times the square of the lens radius times pi equals. I've got it. I've got it.
Hello, Doctor.
Wilma, look. I've worked out the heat radiation formula for the mechanical mole.
Mechanical mole?
Yes. Let me at that subcosmic radio unit.
But what under the sun is...
Excuse me, Wilma. Calling Factory B18. Factory B18.
Factory B18, Rankin.
Rankin, this is Dr. Ewer.
Oh, yes, Doctor.
Set the radial heat controls exactly as I tell you.
Yes, sir.
Number 1 at 33 degrees, 4 minutes right. Number 2 at 7 degrees, 17 minutes right. Number 3 at 9 degrees, 9 minutes left.
Yes, sir.
Do it immediately. We'll take the mole on a test run just as soon as we can get over there.
Yes, sir.
Signing off.
Well, now, Doctor.
Where's Buck, Wilma?
Why, he's out making a trial flight in the new super rocket ship you developed just after we got back from Jupiter.
Oh.
But what is a mechanical mole?
Well, then wait. We'll want him in on the test run of the mechanical mole, too. Central Radio Bureau. Dr. Ewer calling Central Radio Bureau.
Mechanical mole, did you say?
Central Radio Bureau, Stratton speaking.
Oh, Dr. Ewer, Stratton. Do you know where I can reach Captain Buck Rogers?
Oh, he's making a test flight, Doctor, in the new interplanetary rocket.
Yes, I know, but where is he?
Well, last reported about 17 points west of the moon.
Oh.
Flying a course in the general direction of Saturn.
Well, then use a subcosmic power beam to contact him immediately. Ask him to join us at the spaceport just as soon as he can get back to Earth. Hangar number 4.
Oh, the experimental hangar.
That's right. And radio Sergeant Carlborg out there that we're coming. Tell him to have everything ready for us.
I'll call them both right away, sir.
Thank you. Signing off.
Signing.
Did you come over here in a rocket-powered air roadster, Wilma?
Well, yes, Doctor, I did.
Fine. We'll use it to fly out to the spaceport. Come along.
But I don't understand. All this talk about a mechanical mole and heat radiation formulae...
Wilma, we're about to embark on the most amazing scientific venture we've ever attempted.
Oh, really?
Come along now. I'll tell you about it on the way over. Oh, good. Your rocket roadster is the enclosed model.
Now, it keeps my hair from getting blown all over the place.
You're wearing a flying helmet.
Well, that's as good an excuse as any.
Here now. Get in.
Want me to take the controls?
If you like. All ready.
Then here we go. These little things certainly make a quick takeoff, don't they?
Well, don't spare the power. The sooner we get over there, the sooner we'll be able to start out in a mechanical mole.
Well, tell me about it. What is it? What's it for? What's it do?
Look, Wilma, for years we've devoted all our time and effort to exploring the vast reaches of outer space. Mars, Venus, Jupiter, Saturn, even far off Pluto.
Yes, and we've had some mighty interesting times on those planets.
Yes, but as a result of the fascination of interplanetary exploration, we have utterly neglected the very world we live on, Earth.
Yes, I guess so. But now, what has that got to do with...
A few elementary facts we do know. Seismographs, instruments that measure shocks and vibration in the Earth, have indicated that it has a central core some 4,000 miles in diameter, composed, in all probability, of the heavier elements like iron, nickel, platinum, and radium.
Only, of course, they're liquefied.
What?
Awfully hot in the center of the Earth, isn't it?
The temperature is probably in thousands of degrees.
Well, then, the elements you mentioned must be liquefied.
No. Although that temperature is far higher than that at which any known substances could be ordinarily used and remain solid, the enormous pressure is undoubtedly sufficient to keep it from nothing.
Some pressure?
Well, normal atmospheric pressure, that which surrounds us all the time, is a little over 14 pounds per square inch.
Yes, I know.
But the pressure at the core of the Earth is estimated at about 3 million atmospheres.
Good night. But now, Doctor...
Now, of course, we know that most of the Earth's land surface is covered with a layer of sedimentary rock. Particles of rock and sand that were spread about by water following the Ice Age, and then settled and stuck together.
Yeah.
Now, geologists agree that a widespread granitic layer extends well under all the continents.
Mm-hmm.
Other common minerals are shales and sandstone and basalt in such forms as staurite and gabbro, and ecrogite and pachyllite.
What? Oh, now listen, Doctor. You're just trying to mix me all up and change the subject. I want to know about the mechanical mole.
Well, then watch your navigation and swing us round.
Huh?
Directly below us, there at the spaceport.
Oh. Great day, that thing?
Yes.
Why, it looks like a big, long metal sausage.
It's made of flexo-impervium, the toughest and most flexible metal known to us.
That huge lens at the end of it. And those little fins sticking out all over the side.
A thermic radiation projector. A heat ray.
Oh.
And the fins shield a system of non-recoil energy projectors.
But what is it for? What does it do?
Well, what's the controls? We're heading straight down at it.
I'm sorry. It's such a strange-looking thing. And look at all the people gaping at it from that barrier that's strung around.
Well, land us there in the open space between it and the hangar.
Okay.
You see, there's Sergeant Carlborg waiting for us.
Yes, sir. I'm cutting the power. Now we'll coast down.
We're dropping pretty fast, Wilma.
Then I'll use some reverse power to land us without a bump. Now, let's get out so I can find out what this mechanical mole is all about.
Dr. Muir, sir.
Hello, Cowlog.
Hello there.
And Lieutenant Wilmer. Well, I might have known you'd be coming along on this experimental trip, miss.
Well, now I know that the mechanical mole is capable of making some kind of a trip anyway.
Been having quite a time keeping the crowds back of the fence, Doctor. They all want to have a look at it.
I thought you were going to keep it in the hangar, Cowlog. Not the sort of machine that should be around where people can get at it or into it.
All my men are keeping them all at a safe distance. You see, Mr. Rankin from the factory brought it out here to make some adjustments on it.
Oh, and he's already been here?
Yes, sir. Left just a minute ago.
Fine. That means we can start out in the mechanical mole without delay.
Well, what about Buck, Doctor?
Oh, of course. It's funny that he isn't here. I told him to come out and make himself at home in the mole whenever he... Cowboy.
Yes, sir?
We were expecting Captain Rogers to meet us here.
I haven't so hide or hair, Captain Rogers, Doctor, since the day you three took off for Jupiter, when you went after Killer Kane.
Well, I expect there's nothing we can do but wait for him. And while we're waiting, Wilma, I'll take you into the control room with this machine and explain to you how it works.
At last I'm going to find out what it's all about.
And Cowboy.
Yes, sir?
You better have your men clear a long path for us in the general direction of the city. We don't want the withering heat from the thermic radiation projector to hurt anyone when we start up.
Yes, sir. Do it right away, sir.
The doctor has to be all right here next to the hangar?
Yes.
Come on, let's get into this big machine.
No, wait a minute. There's the radio call signal inside the hangar office.
Oh, let Cowboy take it.
He's moving the crowd back. Only take a second to answer it, and maybe Buck. Here now.
Buck Rogers. Center Radio Bureau calling Captain Buck Rogers. Calling Captain Buck Rogers.
Hello?
Urgent message for Captain Rogers from the office of the President of America.
Oh, well, Captain Rogers isn't here, but I'm expecting him in a minute.
Dr. Muir?
Yes?
This is Stratton speaking.
Oh, Stratton.
I'm sure it'll be all right for you to relay this message to the captain, sir. Besides, you ought to know about it.
What is it?
Well, it reads as follows. Killer Kane and our jailer have escaped.
What?
Yes, sir.
Good night.
Then tell the President we'll drop everything to get on that trail immediately.
No, wait, sir. You'd better hear the rest of this.
Well, all right, go ahead.
Killer Kane and our jailer have escaped from the emergency prison where they were placed to await transfer to the city prison.
Yes.
A clever trick made it possible for them to get a 24-hour start in the rocket plane you used for the Jupiter expedition.
Best ship in the universe.
Entire Space Patrol fleet has been unable to pick up that ship's rocket trail. Apparently, there's nothing we can do but wait until the two criminals show up again. Urge, however, that you keep constantly on guard against Kane and our jailer's reappearance. End of message.
All right, Stratton. Thank you.
Doctor, what can we do?
Nothing, Wilma, except what the President suggests. Wait for him to show up again.
No, Doctor, but do you suppose they really did leave Earth in that ship of ours?
Why, what do you mean?
They might have just sent it flying alone by the automatic controls as a trick.
Possibly. To throw us off that trail.
Well, it's all moved back, Doctor, and you can... Hey, what's the matter?
Nothing. Come along, Wilma. We'll board the mechanical mole.
Yes, sir.
Right this way. Crowd's mighty anxious to see that big machine get started, Doctor.
Are they?
Yes, sir. You'll catch it. Hey, look. Look, it's moving.
You're right. And the heat ray of the nose of it is starting to glow.
Doctor, Killer Kane and our jailer.
You're right. And with that heat ray, the lives of all these people out here are in danger.
And Kane and our jailer won't hesitate to use it.
It's moving over toward the crowd of people right now. Come on, we've got to stop it.
Stop it how?
Then what can we do?
Get those people away from here. Come on, get them away.
Great day. The terrible destruction that could be done with the gigantic heat ray in the nose of that mechanical mole is too appalling to even think about. But now stand by for a few words from your favorite announcer, and then we'll be back with more of this thrilling story. Now let's get back to the world of the future. Back to the municipal spaceport at Niagara, capital of 25th century America, where a terror-stricken crowd is watching a gigantic machine called the mechanical mole move sluggishly across the landing field. In the front of it, Atomic radiation projector, a gigantic heat ray, begins to glow ominously. Here we go, 500 years into the future.
Doctor, the mechanical mole is moving over toward the edge of the crowd.
We've got to stop it, Doctor, before it runs over those people.
Stop that? Impossible.
The heat ray is beginning to glow. It's Cain and Ardella, all right.
They won't stop us moving, Doctor. Look!
Oh, that's liberty. We'll burn those people in that track. Somehow we've got to keep it from reaching them.
No, look. The heat ray is off now.
And the mole is started back toward the middle of the field.
Tell it Cain and Ardella at the controls. It won't stay away from that crowd for long. If only Buck were here.
Yes, sir. Captain Rogers will find a way to stop that thing.
Wait. Carbog.
Yes, sir.
Come with me quick. Back to the main rocket ship hangar.
What for, Doctor?
Oh, don't waste time talking. Come along.
Yes, sir.
Wilma.
Yes?
Get to the radio unit in this hangar. Call for the rocket control fleet. Have them assemble at 1,000 feet directly above this field.
Yes, sir. Right away.
Look. The mole is just going around in a circle out there.
Yes, but it may not do it for long. You've got a Y-12 space fighter in this main hangar, haven't you?
3 or 4 of them. But the RS-13 carry bigger disintegrators.
No, I want the Y-12 for its black ray.
Black ray?
Yes. We'll climb up above it and cover that mechanical mole with utter darkness.
Yes.
Then the men in the space fleet can hold it in position with non-recoil energy projectors.
Then what?
Yes. Now, here's the hangar. Pull the switch to open the big sliding doors so we can get the ship out.
It's right over here, Doctor.
That's it. And here's the Y-12 just waiting for us.
Here, Doctor. I'll open that metal door for you.
I've got it. Get in, quick.
Yes, sir. Only I wonder if Cain and Ardella have started a mechanical mole targeting the people again.
Carbog, get in here.
Yes, sir.
Now, here we go. And I hope some of the space fleet is on its way over.
Wow! We'll smash into the top of the hangar door. Hey, but look!
Yes, I see. The mole is standing still down there.
Yes, sir. The people are starting to move closer to it again.
Oh, we've got to stop that. I'll call Wilma down there at the other hangar.
It's no use, Doctor. She's down there on the field again. Too far away to hear the call.
Well, then perhaps you tell your men keep that car back.
Oh, wait. Here they come, sir.
What?
The rocket fleet.
Oh, good. Rocket fleet attention. Rocket fleet attention.
Captain Wilson speaking, Dr. Yor. Rocket fleet standing by.
Yes, sir. They're in a big circle right above us. Must be 8 or 10 of them ships.
Good. Wilson, I want you to keep the circle you formed directly above the big machine you see down there on the flying field.
Aye, sir.
I'm going to shoot down a black ray to envelop that machine in darkness. And I want your ships to send down paralysis rays on with full power behind them. I'll give you the order.
Must be Cain and Ardella in the mechanical mole.
Oh, then you know about their escape?
Yes, sir. The rest of the rocket fleet is out in space trying to pick up their trail.
The reason your ships will have to use all available power behind the paralysis rays is because the mole has an elasto-impervium hull.
Will the rays penetrate that at all?
Only a tremendous concentration of them. Even then, they may take some time to penetrate. That's why I'll cover the mole with a black ray to discourage its moving around.
We're all ready, Dr. Yor. My pilot's been in contact with the other ships on a separate wavelength.
Good. Here goes the black ray. Turn it on, Carbog.
Right, sir.
Careful, sir. Careful. There's Wilma down there. It might blind her. Stumble into the path of the mechanical mole.
No. Look. Now she's running over toward the hangar.
Perhaps away from the mole.
It's not moving out of the black ray. But she's certainly in a hurry.
Never mind that now. Wilson. Hello, Wilson.
Standing by for orders, Doctor.
Have you got full power behind the paralysis rays?
Yes, sir.
Then have the men in your ship turn them on.
Right, sir. Order for all ships.
It may take a few minutes, Carbog, but the high concentration of those rays is bound to get through that hull down there, enough to be effective.
I should think so. Coming from the wall and control ships.
Now, cut off the black ray a moment so we can see the mole again, and let the fleet men check on their aim with the paralysis rays.
Now?
Now.
Hey, look.
Yes, I see. Adela found out how to make the mechanical mold drill its way down into the earth.
By using the heat ray on the front of it.
Yes. They'll get out of range of the 6 paralysis rays.
Underground.
Exactly. There's only one thing to do. Captain Wilson. Calling Captain Wilson.
Doctor, it's going into the ground. Our paralysis rays won't be able to
Wilson,
affect.
have your ship drop down to 100 feet in their present circle formation.
Yes?
Instead of paralysis rays, they're being force rays, non-recoil energy projectors. That will keep the mold from moving any further.
Even down there under the ground?
Even under the ground. Do it now.
Right.
What about us, Doctor?
We smothered with our heat ray.
You didn't make them in there.
No, the hull of the mold is too well insulated against heat. But it'll melt the ground around it.
I see. Then you let the ground re-harden around it.
Exactly, that's right. It will be locked tightly in a huge area of solidified rock. Here goes the heat ray.
Doing it. The cloud's melting away. There's a regular pool of it. With a wall right in the middle.
Exactly. And now, in a minute or two, it'll harden. We trapped them, cowboys.
The patrol fleet is holding them right there to the force rays.
And they won't need it for long. See all that steam?
Yes.
An underground stream that'll cool the ground and harden it quickly.
Then they're trapped all right. But how are we ever going to get Kane or Adela out of there?
Well, we'll think of that later. The main thing now is that we have them.
Dr. Dewar, calling Dr. Dewar.
Oh, that's why she was running to the hangar to call you.
Calling Dr. Dewar.
Yes, Wilma.
The mold, the mechanical mold.
Completely trapped, Wilma, in solid rock.
But Doctor's in it, Doctor, helpless. He'll suffocate.
But in the mechanical mold...
Remember, he got there before we did. Climbed into the mold with Captain Brain. While Cowboy was taking a radio call in the hangar.
No wonder I didn't see him.
Then we thought it was Kane and Adela.
Trying desperately to contact you by radio. Just heard your orders to the space.
Well, then why didn't I hear him?
The receiver on this ship is tuned to the general utility tank.
Oh, and the mold on ultra short range.
You've got to help him now, quick. He's suffocating.
Suffocating?
Talk to him, Doctor, and do something to get him out of there.
All right.
Here, I'll adjust this receiver and pick up the mold now.
Thank you. Buck. Hello, Buck.
Hi, Doctor. Get me out of here, will you?
Yes.
When that black ray hits down this way, I banged in the control board. Wrecked the air conditioning controls and all the light controls, too. Now, there's not much air left in this small control cabin, so as you can...
Buck, turn on the thermic radiation projector in the nose of the mold. That'll let you melt your way back to the surface.
I don't dare try it.
Why?
I can't see a thing in this darkness, and I might wreck the whole works and me with her.
Well, then listen, Buck. Buck.
Yes, sir?
The inertron control. The inertron lifting unit.
I don't know where it is.
The lever is under the left side of your control sheet. Lift it upward.
Right.
Doctor, what good will that do? That your journey can't last much longer.
Now, Buck.
Doctor!
Buck Rogers.
No air, Doctor. It's got him.
Dr. Dewey, he'll die down
Oh,
there.
wait, Wilma, wait.
What are you going to do?
I don't know
You've
yet.
got to get him out of there.
Wait. Wilson. Captain Wilson.
Yes, sir. I've heard it all.
We've got it off that ground again.
Right.
When they left that ground, you push the mold out with our force plate. Cowboy, take the ship control. Yes, sir.
Dr. Dewey, can't you do
Right
something?
away, Wilma.
Maybe too late. Don't you understand? What is suffocating down
Oh,
there?
Carl, don't break down there. I'll work the force plate.
Right there, full power.
That's it. Now the force plate. The ground comes again. We're pushing the wall back up to the surface.
Now bring us right down to silence.
Yes, the ground is down.
Down. Here we go. We're on it, sir.
Now, quick. That crowbar there on the wall.
Crowbar?
All right. I have it. Out here. This metal door.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We pushed them all right back on top of solid ground again. Pretty hot around here, too.
No, never mind that. Help me pry open the door of the mechanical mold.
Yes, sir.
Doctor, he wants to be outside. Can you save him?
Help us. Quick.
But I will.
Now, pull.
She's open.
Doc, are you all right?
Keep that call.
Doc, Get some more to get a healing ray.
Carbog, there's a healing ray in the hangar number 3.
Yes, sir. Right away, sir.
Oh, Buck. I never thought you'd get out of there alive.
I'm all right. Thank you. Just needed some air. A little fresh air.
Oh, Buck. I was afraid that...
Well, Doctor? Yes, Buck. He works. When do we start for the center of the Earth? Say, a trip to the center of the Earth in that mechanical mole ought to provide thrills galore. Be sure to listen to the next episode.
Wheat Chex, Rice Chex, and Good Hot Roastin' present Space Patrol! High adventure in the wild, vast reaches of space. Missions of daring in the name of interplanetary justice. Travel into the future with Buzz Corey, Commander-in-Chief of the Space Patrol! In today's transcribed adventure, Buzz and Happy are in a surface car driving through the Venus Mountains toward the Space Patrol testing grounds. As Happy carefully guides the car over the dangerous road, they're unaware that a container of sleeping gas hidden in the car is expelling a dangerous vapor.
Wow, I've seen these cliffs from the air, but I never realized how high they really are.
From this road, it's a 1,000-foot drop to the bottom of the gorge.
I wonder why I'm so drowsy.
I'm a little drowsy, too.
Oh, Commander, there's a patch of fog or something ahead of us. It's a turn of the fog.
Happy, look out. We're heading for the edge.
Huh? Hey, we're going over the cliff.
We'll return in just a moment with today's Space Patrol adventure, the Immortal Brain. Gang, it kept coming closer and closer, faster and faster. And now it's here. Yes, the day is here, right smack on top of us. The last day we can offer you the Space Patrol Projectoscope. The Projectoscope, the 6-inch rocket that flashes on and off like a real signal light. The Projectoscope, that blue and yellow plastic rocket that throws a steady beam of light like a real flashlight. The Projectoscope, the sleek, streamlined rocket that flashes 24 different pictures on the wall, one at a time. Pictures of Buzz, Corey, and Cadet Happy in 4 exciting Space Patrol adventures. Fun galore. But, gang, don't wait. This is the last time we can offer you the Projectoscope. Just buy a box of Rice Chex or Wheat Chex. Then, with your name and address, send 35 cents in coin and a Rice Chex or Wheat Chex box top to Space Patrol, Box 686, St. Louis, Missouri. This offer good only in the USA and may be withdrawn at any time. That's Space Patrol, Box 686, St. Louis, Missouri. And now, today's Space Patrol adventure, the Immortal Brain. Long before the era of space travel, electronic computers proved their worth. With lightning speed, they foretold the path of rockets and predicted the weather. In the 30th century, these amazing electronic brains supply information and guidance for government leaders and all major industries. The giant government computer on Terra helps keep the economy of the United Planets in balance. Although most privately owned electronic brains proceed in an honest manner to supply special information to business firms, one famous computer in Venus City, known as Future Incorporated, is operated mostly for the benefit of unethical investors by Anton McDermott. Right now, McDermott is in his office talking to a new client, Brandon Fergus.
So you've finally come around to subscribing to our service, Mr. Fergus.
Well, I don't see how I can afford not to, Mr. McDermott. My competitors have been beating me at every turn. And at this rate, I'll be broke in 6 months.
5 months.
What's that?
Our computer gives you 5 months. Of course, now that you're using the information given you by Future Incorporated, that prediction will be revised. More optimistically, I'm certain.
Well, I certainly hope so. You charge enough for your predictions.
You'll find it pays, Mr. Fergus. Your competitors have.
Yes, I know. I thought I was getting all the information I needed from this government computer.
Well, that gives you the overall trends in industry and business. but we give you specific predictions for your own particular interests. However, the government computer is excellent for the overall operations of the Space Patrol, for example.
Space Patrol?
You've had an unpleasant experience with the Space Patrol, Mr. Fergus.
Well, I had a nice, profitable arrangement on Jupiter last year. Commander Corey broke it up. He said it was illegal.
Was it?
Perhaps. But Corey just better not trust me again, that's all. You're not interested in my trouble. Well, let me give you a check for the first 3 months.
Fine, Mr. Fergus. What's that you've got there? One of those new check projectors?
Yes. It's shaped like a regular pen. See?
You set the figures by turning those small rings on the shaft. I see.
Then when you press the button on the end, the numbers and my signature are projected onto this specially sensitized check paper. They're like this.
Say, that's quite a gadget. May I look at it?
Of course. Here's your check.
Well, thank you. I'm sure this will be a profitable association for both of us.
Oh, I hope so. You must have inherited your father's brains.
Mr. Fergus, I consider that a very high compliment.
Well, I mean it. Well, I'll be running along now, Mr. McDermott.
All right, Mr. Fergus. You'll be getting your first report on Future Incorporated in about 3 days.
Mr. McDermott, you understand now that I don't want to get mixed up in anything illegal.
Of course not, Mr. Fergus. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Mr. McDermott, are you free now?
Oh, yes, Gilson. Fergus just left, and he signed up.
Good.
I was amused at something he said. He told me I must have inherited my father's brain. If he only knew how close he came to the literal truth.
You mean your father's brainograph records?
Yes, all his ideas on economics, all his vast knowledge scanned by brainograph and recorded on tape. No wonder we've got the best computer service in the solar system. Our computer can draw upon my father's memories and intelligence, just as though he were alive.
Now, that's what I wanted to talk to you about, Mr. McDermott. Something's gone wrong.
What do you mean?
You know that problem you asked me to feed into the computer regarding the probable government plans for a new city on Saturn?
Yes, I've already bought most of the land in that area. Well, what's the trouble?
I fed in some new data from the government, and our computer keeps teletyping nonsense. The same meaningless phrase over and over.
What is it?
And here's the tape from the computer, sir. Cancel GOC.
Cancel government operations computer?
The machine sort of hesitates and makes a few false starts. Then out come these letters every time. That doesn't make sense. Why would the computer tell us to cancel out a whole source of information? Its main source, the government operations computer.
Wait. The machine only has a vocabulary that we've built into it. Maybe it's trying to tell us something it hasn't words for and is using the nearest substitute. Cancel might mean more than just eliminate data. It might mean destroy. Literally destroy.
Oh, but that's fantastic.
Yes, of course. That's it. The machine is trying to tell us that the government computer is recommending a change of plans about the location of the new city on Saturn.
But that would ruin us.
Of course. Our computer's answer is to destroy the government computer.
Well, that's out of the question, of course. What's this thing on the desk?
Oh, that's Fergus's gadget, a check projector. He must have left it. Gilson, you've got to go to Terra and destroy that computer. Immediately.
But, Mr. McDermott...
There's no other way out. And I know how it can be done. Straight down this aisle, Happy, behind relay panel number 68B. That's where the trouble started.
Yes. Gee, this computer's a complicated thing.
It'll take weeks to repair the damage, even if we put every available technician on the job. Here. See that small black metal case?
This one? What does it do?
It's not a part of the computer, Happy. It was put here deep inside the control unit wiring to sabotage the computer.
That little box blew out this whole big machine?
Yes.
Well, who would want to do a thing like that? What would they gain?
It's hard to see how anyone could profit from it. This is the work of an extremely irrational and vicious mind.
Well, you mean somebody really blew his rocket?
Mm-hmm. And paralyzed the largest, most important electronic brain in the solar system. Not only paralyzed it, but burned out memory banks, relays, and indicating instruments.
Somebody must have a grudge against everybody.
He succeeded in slowing down a lot of important projects. The economy of the whole United Planets will be thrown out of balance. You've got to find another computer. There's only one big enough to handle the job.
Which one is that, sir?
Future Incorporated in Venus City. It's not time to investigate the company, but they have an amazing record for correct predictions. It's run by Anton McDermott.
McDermott, sir? That name sounds familiar.
Anton is the son of the late Samuel McDermott, the famous economist and historian.
Oh, were you a friend of his?
Yes. Never knew his son, Anton, very well. But Samuel McDermott and I were working on an idea together.
What was the idea, sir?
Well, you know it's possible to make a brainograph recording of a person's thoughts and memories.
Yes, sir.
I persuaded Mr. McDermott that he should leave such a record behind. It would be much quicker than writing books. In the case of a genius like McDermott, it would preserve thousands of ideas that would otherwise be lost.
Mm-hmm.
Our plan was to devise some way to transfer these ideas and facts to the memory bank of a computer. In that way, we could benefit from a brilliant man's thinking ability, even after he passed away. At least we thought we could preserve part of it.
Gee.
McDermott told me he'd found a solution, but I was called away on a mission about then. When I returned, it was too late.
Well, hadn't he written it down?
No. At least no mention of it was ever discovered in his papers after his death. His son, Anton, turned all of his father's notes over to the government.
It's sure too bad he couldn't have lived a little while longer.
Eventually, someone will solve the problem. But right now, we've got one of our own. We'll blast off for Venus City and see if young McDermott will let the government use it.
Commander, anything I can do for a friend of my father will be a pleasure.
I appreciate that, Mr. McDermott. But you're doing a public service, not just a personal favor for me.
Do you have any idea what motive was behind this sabotage of the government?
Not the slightest. We haven't any clue as to who wrecked the terror machine, except that he obviously knows quite a bit about computers.
I certainly hope you catch the vandal, Commander.
We will. McDermott, you'll receive some tape-recorded data for your computer's memory banks in a few hours. Then you can go to work on our Saturn problem.
Excellent. Well, will you be going back to Terra right away?
First, I've got to visit the Space Patrol testing grounds outside Venus City. Cadet Happy and I will drive over in the morning.
I don't envy you the trip. I understand it's a nerve-wracking ride over that winding mountain road.
Yeah, it would be easier to take an atmosphere ship, but as long as we have to be here on Venus another day, I thought I'd go the slow way and enjoy the scenery.
Well, then I'll see you again before you blast off for Terra.
Yes. Thanks a lot, Mr. McDermott.
Don't mention it.
Mr. McDermott.
Yes, Gilson, what is it?
Something really is wrong with the computer this time. I think we overloaded it.
What?
Well, pardon my saying so. I don't think we should circuit in your father's memory banks. I think they're confusing the other circuits.
How could they?
Well, by introducing irrelevant data. 4 times it came through. Canceled CICSP. There's no significance to those letters as far as the machine's concerned. It's gibberish.
It's very improbable they would have produced the same letters 4 times in a row unless it did have some meaning.
CICSP. What meaning could it possibly have, sir?
Wait a minute. Let's try grouping the letters differently instead of running them all together. C-I-C-S-P. SP. Space Patrol, perhaps.
Oh, but what about the other letters? CIC.
CIC. Commander-in-Chief.
Canceled Commander-in-Chief, Space Patrol.
Remember? Cancel is also the computer's word for destroy. It means we're to destroy Commander Corey.
It's uncanny. How does the machine know Corey?
It doesn't. It deals with relationships of ideas. And remember, my father knew Corey. The idea of Corey is in my father's memory bank.
But they were friends. Why would your father want Corey destroyed?
Gilson, think a minute. That computer doesn't want anything. It's solving a problem. The problem's a cold, logical, mathematical problem. My father wouldn't have hesitated to wipe out Corey's chessmen in a friendly game of chess. Now the problem is how to preserve Future Incorporated.
The answer is destroy Corey.
Right.
But, Mr. McDermott, we can't get rid of Corey.
Yes, we can. Tomorrow morning, Corey and that cadet are going to drive a surface car over the mountains to the Space Patrol testing grounds. It won't be hard to find out what car they're taking. We can conceal a cylinder of sleeping gas under the seat.
Sleep gas?
Yes. Imagine what will happen on that mountain road if they get drowsy at the wheel.
But the Space Patrol's sure to find the wrecked car. And even if it's smashed to pieces, the sleep gas cylinder's likely to be found.
Yes, you're right. And they'd know it wasn't an accident. Then we've got to make the Space Patrol suspect somebody else. Wait, I've got it.
What?
This gadget Fergus left here, his check projector. And Fergus has a grudge against Corey. That's our answer, Gilson. If they find Corey, they'll blame Fergus. Come on.
Hey, Commander, this is sure terrific scenery. I didn't realize these mountains near Venus City were so big.
And we've always flown over them before. It takes a view from a surface car to make you really appreciate them.
Well, the engineers who built this road sure did a great job.
They certainly did.
Wow. And that would be some drop, especially along here.
Mm-hmm. Over 1,000 feet.
Oh, excuse me, sir. That sleep I had last night, I wonder why I'm so drowsy.
You want to stop and let me drive a while, huh?
Oh, no, sir. It's only a few more miles to testing grounds. How you make it all right?
Well, I'm a little drowsy myself.
Kind of a patch of fog on the highway up at the next turn.
Oh? I don't see. Yes, I do.
It's foggy inside the car.
Happy, look out. We're heading for the edge.
Huh? We're going over the cliff.
We'll return to Space Patrol in just a moment. Say, gang, talk about a putt-putt. Just listen to this jet cycle. Yes, it's just a putt-putt, because all it has in it is ordinary fuel. But pour in some super fuel, and you get a super start, like this. Wow, that jet cycle is supercharged now. Yep, supercharging takes just one thing, super fuel. Now, to really get going, you have to get supercharged, too. And, gang, here's Buzz Corey's way of doing it. He eats the super cereals, Rice Chex and Wheat Chex. Good? Why, man, they're so good, you grab the biggest bowl you can find, you shake in Chex, pour on milk, sprinkle on sugar, and that's it. You've got a bowl of the swellest tasting cereal in the universe. So try Rice Chex or Wheat Chex today. And remember, inside of every package, there's a mysterious magic space picture. The super cereals that help to supercharge you, Rice Chex, Wheat Chex. And now, back to today's Space Patrol adventure, the Immortal Brain. Anson McDermott has secretly perfected a means of using the brainograph tape recordings of his late father's vast knowledge in his electronic calculating machine. When the machine revealed Commander Corey was an obstacle to the success of McDermott's dishonest schemes, the inventor determined to destroy the commander and throw suspicion on one of McDermott's own clients, Brandon Fergus. Knowing Buzz and Happy were to travel from Venus City to the Space Patrol testing grounds in a surface car, McDermott concealed a sleeping gas cylinder in the car, together with a check projector belonging to Fergus. Now, on a dangerous curve in the Venus Mountains, Happy has browsed at the wheel and is heading for a 1,000-foot drop into the gorge below.
Can't stop, sir. We're going over. Let go of the wheel, Hap. I'll take it. We didn't go over.
The rear wheel's caught on the boulder, hanging right over the edge.
How are we going to get out of the car?
Climb into the back and out the rear doors.
All right, sir. Wow, look down there.
Had a close call. Move carefully now. I don't know how long this car's going to hold.
Okay, sir. Hey.
What's the matter?
Look what's in the back part of the car. A cylinder. Sleeping gas.
What?
Here it is, sir. Must have been hidden back there and got bounced out when we hit the boulder.
It's got a time release on it. That's why we were getting drowsy. I shut off the valve.
And what's this?
What?
On the floor back here, sir. It looks like a pin of some kind. No, it's a tiny atomolite.
Let's see. Oh, it's a check projector.
Who does it belong to?
It's something the Venus City Space Patrol lab can tell us when they take it apart.
Then we'll know who put the sleep gas cylinder back here.
Our trip to testing grounds is off, Happy. We're going back to Venus City. I'll space the phone for a card.
Mr. McDermott, here's an extract from that data we got from the government computer memory tape.
Well, let's see it. Oh, good, Gilson. It's printed up in government regulation form, just as I ordered.
You want me to take it to Fergus?
No, he's coming here to the office in a few minutes. I'll give it to him then.
Oh, very good. Mr. McDermott, will it be absolutely necessary to go ahead with the rest of our plan?
You mean doing away with Fergus?
Yes.
Of course, Gilson. We know that Corey and the cadet left Venus City for the testing grounds on schedule. That means that by now the sleeping gas has worked, and they've lost control of the surface car.
But isn't the check projector enough evidence against Fergus?
It might be. But if Fergus is later found with information that he could have stolen from Corey, it will provide a motive. However, if Fergus is given a brainograph test, he could prove his innocence. So, the only alternative is to give Fergus top secret data, and then do away with it.
How do we do that?
When Fergus sees this information, he'll blast off for Saturn to take advantage of it. When he's out in space, his air supply will fail. We'll see to that.
And the Space Patrol will have an open and shut case.
Exactly. If they find his ship, they'll find the secret date on him. Their only possible conclusion is that Fergus stole it from Corey. Oh, that's probably Fergus now, let him in.
Yes, sir.
The Venus lab came up with something very interesting, Happy.
On the check projector?
Yes, they cut it apart and projected the signature cell under ultraviolet light.
Whose is it?
Belongs to Brandon Fergus.
Brandon Fergus?
Yes, I had some trouble with him several months ago on Jupiter. He was involved in an illegal transaction. I stepped in and broke it up.
Well, then it must have been Fergus that planted the sleep gas cylinder in the surface car.
It looks that way. I can't figure out a motive. As far as I know, Fergus has been sticking close to the law lately. Either he holds a grudge a long time, or he's planning something new and wanted me out of the way.
Well, he sure came close to succeeding.
We'll make sure he doesn't come any closer. I've assigned some men to trace Fergus. When they locate him, they'll let me know, and you and I will find out.
Are you sure about this, Gilson?
Positive. Commander Corey was seen coming out of the Venus City Space Patrol headquarters.
Could we have missed? You did take the surface car that you put the sleeping gas cylinder in?
Yes, but the car didn't go over the cliff. It was brought back to Venus City. Damaged, but not badly smashed up.
This puts us in a spot. Well, we've got to get rid of Fergus before Corey questions him.
Well, what about Corey?
I'll have to get rid of him later. The important thing now is to get rid of Fergus. Let's get to his spaceship.
I've just checked with Spaceport Operations Commander. Fergus' ship is on blast-off ramp 27.
Good, Hap. According to one of our agents, Fergus has left his apartment, so he should be here at the spaceport soon.
I wonder where he's going.
I don't know, Happy. He must have decided to leave Venus City within the last few hours. He'd made an appointment with the doctor for day after tomorrow and then canceled it.
Well, then something must have
Happy.
come up.
There he is, making his way through the crowd.
Where, sir?
He's heading toward Gate 6. Let's follow him. We'll keep well behind him. He may be planning to...
That ought to do it, Mr. McDermott. The air supply should fail about 2 hours after blastoff.
Fine, Gilson. By then, Fergus ought to be so far from Venus that no help could reach him.
Well, let's get out of the ship and get back to the office, sir. I'd hate to be caught here.
All right. And now we've got to figure out a way... Oh, wait. What is it? Look, the starboard viewport. Somebody's coming toward the ship.
It's Fergus. What do we do?
Oh, don't get excited, Gilson. I'll tell him I learned some new information.
Yeah, but what are you going to tell him?
It won't matter. You'll never have a chance to check the truth. Gilson,
what's the matter?
Who's following Fergus?
The Space Patrol.
Yes, Corey and his cadet.
We've got to get out of here.
Wait. This is a chance to simplify our whole problem. Come on, Gilson. Get into one of the aft compartments.
He's going up the ladder into his ship, sir. Hadn't we better hurry?
All right, Ham. But he can't blast off until he checks with Venus Space Patrol.
It doesn't look as though we were going to meet anybody here.
No. Evidently, Fergus has been working alone. All right, Hap, up the ladder into the ship.
Yes, sir.
Just a minute, Fergus. Don't close that hatch.
What's that?
We're coming in. We want to talk to you.
Why, Commander Corey, I haven't seen you for almost a year.
Yes, but I've got something here that belongs to you.
Oh, it's my check projector.
I thought you might explain how it happened to be in a surface car. I was driving to the testing grounds outside of Venus City.
Surface car? Why, really, Commander, I don't know what you're talking about. I lost a check gadget recently, but I haven't the slightest idea how it got into your surface car.
Then I'll have to ask you to come along with me for a brainograph test.
Now, see here, Commander, I've important business to attend to.
Search him, Happy.
Yes, sir.
But this is outrageous. I assure you I've done nothing against the law since our last dispute. And you have no right to hold me here.
He doesn't have any weapons, sir. Just this identification folder and some documents.
I'll take them, Happy. Thanks.
Now, see here, Commander. I resent this. And believe me...
Hold it, Fergus. How did you get this?
What?
This is government information, top secret. And it's an official document form. So you were going to Saturn, were you? Where did you get this information?
Perhaps I can explain, Commander. Get your hands up to that. You too, Commander.
McDermott.
I warn all of you. Any movement, I'll use this ray gun on you. Gilson, watch him closely. Especially Corey.
Yes, Mr. McDermott.
I don't get this, McDermott. What's the idea?
I'll tell you, Commander. This greedy fool Fergus had nothing to do with the attempt on your life in the Venus Mountains. I planned it.
You did? Why?
Because my electronic computer informed me that you were the most dangerous obstacle to my success.
You can't be serious.
Furthermore, it informed me that the government computer on Terra should be put out of commission.
Then you sabotaged the Terra calculator.
That's right. My calculator also determined that if you remained alive, the Space Patrol would probably discover that I destroyed the Terra machine.
So you put the sleeping gas in my surface car.
Yes, but that plan failed. So I'll have to be sure that this time I succeed. I'm going to do away with Fergus, and also you and your cadet right here in Fergus's spaceship.
McDermott, I can't understand this. Your father and I were friends. He was a great man, a brilliant man, and the kindest man I've ever met.
That's rich, Corey. Do you realize that it was my father's decision that you should be eliminated?
That's impossible.
Do you remember those brainograph tapes? The idea you and he were working on to transfer those tapes to the memory banks of calculating machines?
Yes, but he passed away before we could...
Not quite, Corey. He told me the process. I'm the first man in history to add the contents of a human brain to an electronic thinking machine. And it's ironic, isn't it, that my father, your friend, should decide that you should be destroyed.
That's very interesting, McDermott. But tell me, did you transfer all of your father's brainograph tapes to your electronic calculator?
Of course not. Just the important parts. The facts, his reasoning processes.
That's all I wanted to know, McDermott.
Get Gilson happy. Yes, sir. Give me that gun, Gilson.
Good work, Captain. Keep them covered.
Yes, sir.
All right, McDermott, on your feet. Let's take him to headquarters, Happy.
Yes, sir.
McDermott, when you put your father's electronic calculator together, you forgot one thing.
What was that?
Your father's brain wasn't merely a collection of facts. That's all you preserved. You threw away the important qualities: sympathy, kindness, and the love for humanity.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Of course you do. McDermott, you can build a substitute for the human brain, but you'll never build a substitute for the human heart.
In just a moment, an action preview of next week's exciting Space Patrol adventure.
Come in.
You wanted to see me, Commander?
Oh, yes. Come in, Captain Tupa. Captain, you understand, don't you, that today is the last time we can offer the gang on Earth a Space Patrol projectoscope?
Yes, sir, I do.
And be sure to mention that when you talk to them on the radio today. I don't want anybody to get left without one. Now, look at this projectoscope I have here. You ever see a better model of my rocket?
Never, sir.
Take a look at how easy it flashes signals.
Perfect.
Look at the steady beam of light it throws. A real flashlight in the shape of a rocket. And, of course, it's also a film projector. It flashes pictures on the wall. Pictures of Hap and me and 4 of our greatest Space Patrol adventures.
Say, what's that, Commander?
Oh, my radio beam relayer is on. The boys and girls have been listening to us all the time. Hi, gang. Glad you're listening in because now you already know that I want you to send in right away for a projectoscope. Remember, this is the last time we can make this offer.
That's right, gang. To get a projectoscope, do this. Buy a box of rice checks or wheat checks. Then, with your name and address, send 35 cents in coin and a rice checks or wheat checks box top to Space Patrol, Box 686, St. Louis, Missouri. Don't forget your 35 cents. That's Space Patrol, Box 686, St. Louis, Missouri. And now, a preview of next week's exciting Space Patrol adventure. Buzz and Happy are in the basement of a museum near some prehistoric fossil pits on the Martian desert, searching for valuable gems.
These gems look real to me, Commander. They are, Happy. I think we've found the man who smuggled them in. Hey, Commander, what's that?
Stay where you are, both of you. Now, Commander, you may have found me, but this machine will keep you from capturing me.
Well, what kind of a machine is it, Commander? It's a disintegrator for removing rock from fossils.
That's right, and it will destroy anything, Cadet. Do you understand anything? That means no one will ever find a trace of either of you.
Join us again next week for the mystery of the Martian fossils, when wheat checks, rice checks, and good hot Ralston again present another exciting adventure on Space Patrol! Special bulletin for boys and girls in Cincinnati, Ohio, Bridgeport, New Haven, and Hartford, Connecticut, and Providence, Rhode Island. Buzz Corey's own space battle cruiser, the Ralston Rocket, will be in your area next week. Don't miss it. The Ralston Rocket. Space Patrol, created by Mike Moser, starring Ed Kemmer as Commander Corey and Lynn Osborne as Cadet Happy, was written by Lou Houston Produced and directed by Larry Robertson. Executive producer Mike Devery. Other players were Bela Kovac, Ken Mayer, and Norman Jolly. Dick Tufeld speaking. Now, don't forget to tune in next Saturday and every Saturday when Wheat Chex, Rice Chex, and Good Hot Ralston again present the new exciting Space Patrol. And be sure to see another exciting Space Patrol program on your local ABC television station. Consult your local paper for time and channel. This program is broadcast to our armed forces overseas through the worldwide facilities of the Armed Forces Radio Service. Space Patrol has come to you transcribed from Hollywood. This is ABC Radio Network.